Here's the setup. A kid watches monsters tear his world apart, and on the day his parents are taken from him, he makes a vow. He is going to become an adventurer strong enough that nothing like that ever happens again. That vow lands him a rare skill from a higher power, revival. One free ticket back if everything goes wrong. To a kid who already lost everything, it feels like hope. Years later, Arthur is living that dream. He runs with a party, clears easy jobs, and starts to believe the worst is behind him. For a while, it almost looks true. But the party already has opinions about his skill. Revival only works once. To them, that makes it nearly useless, a last ditch gimmick nobody wants to rely on. Arthur keeps smiling and takes the front line anyway. He explains it himself. One revival. After that, the skill is gone forever. The others shrug it off and keep treating him like the disposable shield up front. Their first real dungeon run feels easy. Skills light up, monsters drop, and the red haired fighter Robert is already talking like they own the place. Arthur is right there with them, still trusting every word. Then the map ends and the real threat shows up. Something stronger than goblins, something that does not care about their little formation. The mood flips in a single breath. Panic hits, the party decides there is only one way out, and it does not include the guy with the one time skill. They leave Arthur behind in the dark and run. Monsters close in from every side. Arthur tries to hold the line alone, still believing revival will save him if it comes to that. The fight gets brutal fast. He goes down. That should have been game over in a hole nobody was ever going to search. Instead, a blue window lights up in the dark. Revival has activated. Arthur wakes up. He is back, but nothing feels right. His voice is gone. When he looks down, he is staring at bone. The skill brought him back, just not as a human. The status screen does not lie. Species white. Level 1, pathetic stats, a resurrected monster with evil mana in its bones. He is undead now, and the people who abandoned him have no idea what they just created. He sits with it. The life he wanted, the country he wanted to protect, all of it is gone, yet the skill still works, and monsters can evolve if they keep gaining levels. A new, colder plan starts to form. If he keeps climbing, he might even look human again someday. But right now, he is already something else, and every living adventurer just became a potential problem. The old rules no longer apply. A goblin finds him. Arthur tests the new body, the new mana, the sword still in his hand. The proxy skill lands. The goblin goes down. Experience floods in. 3 levels in one fight. From 1 to 3, human intellect inside a monster frame turns out to be a terrifying combination. He can do this. Arthur stares at the next threshold. Reach level 5 and he evolves. No more holding back. He is going to climb like his entire second life depends on it. And somewhere far above him, the party that left him behind is still walking around like they got away clean. They have no idea what is coming. Chapter 2 opens in the black heart of the dungeon, and our betrayed adventurer is already moving. The body he left behind is gone. What stands up in its place is pure bone and cold purpose, staring straight into the dark like it owns the place. A status window snaps open in front of his skull. Skeleton human slave, level 1, barely any health, 0 mana, rank E. Most people would panic. He just studies the numbers like a man reading a new contract. The memories hit him clean and sharp. His own party left him down here, deep off the map. No rescue coming, no second chances. They walked away and never looked back. He looks down at what is left of him, just a skeleton wrapped in a tattered hood, yet his mind is crystal clear. Every betrayal, every face, every reason they decided he was disposable. Something else is different too. He can still feel mana curling under the bones. Destruction magic, the same power he used when he was alive, only now there is no flesh to hold it back. The flashback cuts deep. While the rest of the party celebrated their escape, he was already finished and forgotten in the dark. They needed someone to take the fall. He was convenient. No more sitting around. He grabs a discarded blade from the dungeon floor and tests the grip. The steel feels right in bone fingers. If this new body can still swing a sword, then the climb starts now. A low growl rolls out of the shadows. Red eyes, fangs, a dire wolf, bigger and meaner than anything a fresh level 1 should ever face. Perfect. He needs the experience. He does the math out loud. Beat this thing and the levels will come. Stay weak and he stays trapped forever. There is only one choice that gets him closer to the people who threw him away. The wolf lunges. The fight gets brutal fast. Claws, teeth, steel, and raw desperation slamming together in the dark. He is smaller, weaker, and still learning what this skeleton can take. Red Kool-Aid sprays across the stone. The wolf tears into him hard enough to drop any living adventurer. But he does not drop. He keeps swinging even as the bones rattle. Then the impossible happens right in front of his own empty sockets. The damage starts knitting itself back together. His body is fixing itself mid-battle. Regeneration, a gift no living fighter ever gets. That changes everything. He stops defending and starts hunting. One clean opening, one decisive strike, and the dire wolf finally goes down hard. Experience floods in like a tidal wave. 17 experience points. The window lights up. Level 3, Level 4, Level 5 in a single rush, and then a new message appears that stops him cold. Evolution condition unlocked. Light erupts around the skeleton. Bones shift. Power rewrites itself from the inside out. When the glow fades, he is no longer a fragile slave skeleton. He has evolved into a ghoul. The new status screen is beautiful. Higher health, real mana, strength, magic, speed, all climbing, and sitting right there in the skill list is the one that just saved him. Regeneration, permanent. He flexes the new claws and feels the difference. A ghoul's level cap sits at 20. Reach that and he evolves again. Every step takes him further from the weakling they abandoned and closer to something they will not recognize. He has no destination and no reason to rush the surface. Just endless monsters, endless levels, and one crystal clear goal. Grow strong enough to walk back into their lives and make every single one of them understand exactly what they created when they left him behind. Deep in the dungeon, nobody was meant to leave. Our betrayed adventurer is already moving like something that should not exist. A monster rat lunges out of the dark, and the newly risen undead does not flinch. He meets it head on with that cold green light crawling over his hands. The thing tries to crush him. He just keeps coming. Every strike lands harder than the last, and you can already feel it. This body does not care about pain the way a living one did. The fight turns brutal fast. He takes a heavy hit that would have ended any normal adventurer on the spot, red Kool-Aid spraying across the stone. But he rises through it, green energy flaring, and finishes the monster without mercy. And just like that, the blue window lights up. Experience floods in. He leveled from 5 straight to 10 in one go. The ghoul stares at the screen like a man who just realized the rules of the world no longer apply to him. The next evolution is already close. His body starts shifting again, bones and flesh rewriting themselves under that eerie green glow. A ghoul's form is convenient, he notes. No wasted motion, no hesitation. Then the hunger hits. Raw, overwhelming. He falls on the fallen beast and feeds without shame, because this new existence demands it. The lifestyle is hard, he thinks, almost like back when he was still a living mage scraping by. He keeps hunting. Another monster, another brutal clash in the dark. Every victory pushes the numbers higher, and the dread of what he is becoming settles in deeper with every step. An orc goes down hard, 33 experience, level 13 to 14. He is climbing at a pace no living adventurer could match, and he knows it. A few more levels and evolution is his. He stands in the quiet afterward, already stronger than the man he used to be. Pain barely registers. Human feelings are fading. Only the climb matters now, only getting strong enough to settle every account. But the past will not stay buried. He thinks of her, his little sister, Kalmia. They used to be close. Then her magic skill bloomed. She became a real adventurer, and he became the burden who could not keep up. Money ran dry, pride cracked. She started looking down on him the more she rose until he was nothing but gone weight holding her back. That is the wound that never closed. That is why the betrayal cut so deep. A sound snaps him back. Something is moving in the corridor. A goblin steps into view, and then the real shock lands. Voices, familiar ones. Kalmia is here. His sister and the rest of the party that left him behind are right in this dungeon. They talk like nothing happened, like the weakling they abandoned is already forgotten. Kalmia stands among them, calm, distant, exactly the same as always. The ghoul watches from the shadows, and something cold and final settles in his chest. One of them even jokes about how useless he was, how this whole place is just another job. They have no idea the thing they created is standing a few paces away, listening to every word. He steps out, the same dungeon, the same people who threw him away. For a split second, he almost looks like the man they knew, until the truth hits them. This is no lost adventurer. This is a ghoul. Panic. Ice magic erupts. Spears of frozen power slam toward him as the party treats him like any other monster in the dark. He takes the hits, staggers, green light flaring under the frost. They still think this is just another dungeon fight. It's just a ghoul, one of them says. They have no clue. The undead they left behind is still standing, still watching them with eyes that remember every second of the betrayal. And for the first time, the people who abandoned him are the ones who should be afraid. Deep in the dungeon, a fresh party is already sizing up the threat. Alina sits at level 15, Derek at level 14, and then there is Kalmia, level 18. The others can barely believe how far she has climbed. Kalmia really did get this strong. The party knows it, and somewhere in the dark, the undead is already watching them, measuring every move before the first strike even lands. Derek decides he is not waiting around. He is going to smash this thing with everything he has. A roaring fire skill tears through the air, bright enough to light the whole corridor. Alina answers with light body and closes the gap in a blur. The undead slips the hit like he already knew the angle, so fast. The clash is brutal and the party feels it immediately. He shrugs off the full force of her skill. Another fire blast comes in, and still he stands. Nothing they throw is sticking the way it should. This is no ordinary monster. Derek realizes he does not have to face her alone. Backup crashes in hard. The undead just looks at them and says it plain. He is no normal monster. Use your head. Blades and fists fly. The undead weaves through every swing like the fight is already over in his mind. One clean counter and a party member is eating stone. They cannot land a single clean hit. Panic starts to creep in. This monster is out of their league, and he can see every move coming. Green energy tears across the corridor, and still he slips it, calm as ever. Then the undead answers. Ice arrow. The air snaps cold, crystals form and launch like spears, and one of them takes the hit full force. The scream says everything. The fight just flipped. One of them is already on the ground. Kalmia expected nothing less from this thing, but Derek still wanted to try handling it alone. She snaps at him to stop wandering off like this is a freebie. Meanwhile, the undead keeps moving, blue lights trailing behind him like the dungeon itself is feeding him. Someone down the hall cannot even get up. He already knows he is finished if this keeps going. The undead find something waiting in the dark, a crystal pulsing with power. Firepower is one thing, skills are another, and right now he has the edge. Kalmia tries to buy time. Hold on, she can run in just a minute. But the pressure is crushing and she does not have a single minute left. The undead is already closing in. She stops running and starts casting. Ice magic. The circle ignites under her feet, raw and blinding. Ice lance. The entire corridor lights up with freezing power aimed straight at the threat. The undead stares into the blast like he has already calculated the outcome. And somewhere in the chaos, one thought cuts through everything else. He is about to get finished by his little sister. Chapter 5 drops us straight into the deep end. A cold lance rips through the dark while pure panic sets in. Someone is convinced this is the end of the line, and they are screaming for anyone to help. The thoughts are racing now. Think, think. If they can just claw their way out of this dungeon in one piece, maybe there is still a chance. The walls feel like they are closing in. Then the floor drops out from under everyone. Green energy detonates, something heavy crashes down, and the shout that follows is pure shock. One of the girls freezes mid-breath as blue power explodes across the chamber. The air itself feels like it just got rewritten by something that should not be standing. She ends up on the stone with that blue energy still crackling around her like a second skin. And right on cue comes the accusation. What exactly is Lear doing aiming a black element like that? The white-haired guy admits it was way too close. He should have seen it coming. From the dark, a skeletal voice cuts in with cold satisfaction. The plan to turn one of them into an escape route only just failed. Disbelief hits the party like a second blow. How could any of this be real? Whispers of a lord's reincarnation hang in the air while something low and wrong starts crawling forward. Ice magic flares. A monster answers with a roar that shakes the tunnel. One of the girls loses a shot on pure instinct as the fight turns ugly in a heartbeat. The impact lands hard. She forces herself back up anyway, vowing she will fight it, even while her arms scream that this thing has been holding back the entire time. The truth finally surfaces. What they are facing is a wight. dungeon mana pouring into what used to be human remains until something new and hungry stands up. A hooded figure can only mutter that he does not even remember. A glowing presence decides the body it has been using is finished. It thanks the adventurers for the assist, then calmly abandons the shell. It will return, and it has already harvested a dangerous amount of experience from this dungeon. The party starts putting the pieces together. Normal people cannot stay down here long. The thick mana is poison. It drains the body, then the mind, and eventually pulls at the soul itself to feed more magic. Staying for days should be impossible for anything still breathing. They know they need to deal with whatever was left behind, even if the whole request feels completely unreasonable. Flora goes quiet, then makes the call herself. She is heading deeper alone. The others push back hard. It is too dangerous, but she only tells them to wait. She has done this before. She will be fine. They warn her anyway. The really strong monsters live much further in, drawn to the densest mana. They usually hunt in packs, but there are always exceptions, and Flora intends to handle that exception personally. Someone finally asks the question out loud. What exactly is she planning? The dungeon answers for her with a storm of red slashes and a roar that does not belong to anything living. An undead drake, level 72, rank C. The status screen does not lie, and neither does the look on her face. Something abnormal has woken up in the depths, and the people who left our adventurer behind still have no idea what is coming for them. Deep in a dungeon nobody was meant to walk out of, red eyes cut through the dark. The betrayed adventurer is back, and the system itself confirms what he has become. Species Ghoul, level 22, rank C, and he is only getting started. Not far away, a party of living adventurers freezes in the gloom. They can feel eyes on them. They have no idea the thing watching them used to be one of their own kind. From the shadows, he sizes them up. They already think he is nothing but a monster. Fine, let them. As long as they keep looking the wrong way, he can move however he wants. The party is already falling apart. Panic sets in fast. Fall back, disappear, anything to get out of this hole before whatever is hunting them finishes the job. Then the real problem steps into the light, a massive red-eyed brute that makes the whole cavern feel small. One of them starts calculating cold. Maybe this thing can still be used. Maybe they just have to survive long enough to try. Too late for clever plans. The brute is already on them. The fight gets brutal in a heartbeat. Rocks shake loose. Someone screams that it is right there. There is nowhere left to run. Lena takes a hit that sends her flying. It only grazed her, and it still felt like the world ended. The strength on that thing is not normal. The party is out of its depth, and they know it. Ice Lance screams across the cavern. Blue magic slams into the brute hard enough to light up the dark. For a second, it looks like it might work. Then the truth lands. The monster is still standing. It is simply too tough. Kalmia makes the call. She has a spell that can end this, but it takes time she does not have. Someone has to buy every second. The rest of the party is already worn down to the bone, and they know the clock is almost out. One of them hits the wall inside his own head. At this rate, it is game over. He came too deep, he got full of himself, and now the people still trying to protect everyone are the only reason any of them are still breathing. He makes the only choice left. Running means living with the shame forever. So he stands back up. Lena is still in the fight. The whole party is still in the fight. They are going to throw everything they have left at this thing. Magic circles bloom. Right body. Ice lance again. The cavern turns into pure light and force as they pour every last drop into one coordinated strike. For the first time, the brute actually feels it. The ice lands clean. The monster howls like the cavern itself is splitting. Someone actually lands a real hit. Hope flickers for half a second. Then the brute answers and the fight gets ugly all over again. Bodies hit the ground. Someone is down. Kalmia is called out in pure panic. One of them is thinking the unthinkable. They just want to live through this. They have no idea what else is already in the dark with them. And then the air itself changes. A green slash tears through the dark like a judgment. The brute takes a hit that is not from any of them. Something else just entered the fight. The glow fades, and there he is, the undead they left behind, standing over the chaos like he owns the dungeon. He looks at the battered party and the broken brute and delivers one quiet line. You are quite something, are you not? Deep in the unmapped dark, our undead adventurer stands face to face with a towering horned beast. He is no longer the man they abandoned. He is a ghoul, level 14, and every number on that status screen is about to get a workout. The monster looms like a walking nightmare, red eyes locked on the small figure that refuses to run. Most adventurers would already be gone. He just cracks his neck and waits for the first move. The clash erupts. Claws tear through the air with enough force to shatter stone, but the ghoul slips past every swing like smoke. Living bodies have limits, his do not. He answers with cold precision, blue energy flaring along his limbs. In terms of raw power, this thing outclasses him, yet every exchange proves the same truth. The beast is still fighting by the old rules. The fight turns brutal fast. The dungeon floor shakes under their feet as the ghoul drives the monster back, reading every telegraphed strike before it lands. He is learning its rhythm in real time. A heavy blow sends him skidding, but he rises without a sound. No panic, no wasted breath, just that same quiet focus the party once relied on, now turned into something far colder. He studies the creature between strikes and realizes the truth. Other adventurers would have been finished long ago. This thing expected easy prey. Instead, it got him. The monster tries to overwhelm him with pure size and fury. Red Kool-Aid spatters the stones. The ghoul simply adjusts, using the darkness and his new body like they were made for this exact hunt. Close range now. The beast laughs, certain it still holds the advantage. Our undead hero answers with a calm that is somehow more terrifying than any roar. He baits the monster higher, forcing it to overcommit. The other adventurers would already be running. He is still on his feet, and he is about to make the beast regret every second of this fight. The turning point hits hard. In one savage exchange, the ghoul seizes the opening and rips the fight wide open, claiming the monster's left arm as the price of underestimating him. What follows is not pretty. The horned beast thrashes, howls, and finally goes down hard amid a spray of red Kool-Aid. The dungeon falls quiet except for the ghoul's steady footsteps. Experience floods in, level 15, and nearby lies another fallen adventurer named Chaldea. He offers a quiet apology and a thank you, then takes what remains of her strength into himself. Her unique gift becomes his perfect aim, two souls, one purpose. The ghoul rises stronger than before, already turning toward the next stretch of dungeon and the people who left him behind. Further in, he finds a young swordswoman alone in the dark, terrified she will be next on the sacrifice list. She startles at his approach, blade half raised, eyes wide. He means her no harm. The girl stares, voice shaking, because something about him feels painfully familiar. For a moment, she is certain she is looking at her brother returned. The illusion breaks. She knows it is impossible, yet the grief is real. He returns her sword gently, offers no false comfort, and simply tells her they will meet again. Then he walks on. Alone once more, the ghoul leaves the cave behind, status glowing with fresh power. Somewhere ahead, the party that betrayed him is still breathing easy. They have no idea the thing they created is already on the move. Deep in the unmapped lower floors, our betrayed adventurer sits alone in the dark. He is no longer the man they abandoned. He is a ghoul now, mind intact, body rewritten, and the dungeon itself has become his hunting ground. Monsters swarm these depths in endless numbers. He keeps low, slipping past their sight when he can. Every step is calculated. He is not here to play fair. He is here to grow. Then he remembers the ring, the token of trust his old party gave him before they left him behind. He still wears it. The irony is almost funny. They marked him as one of their own right before they threw him away. These lower floors feel wrong in a way the upper ones never did. No living adventurer comes down here. He checks his status and the numbers hit hard. Level 10 already. The climb is happening faster than anything he knew in life. He studies the path ahead. Ghoul is only the beginning. One more evolution and he might claw closer to something that almost looks human again. Or something far worse. The choice is his now. For the first time since they abandoned him, he feels it fully. He is free. Free of their rules, free of a living body's limits, free to become whatever this dungeon will let him become. The lesser beasts that once would have been a real problem do not even slow him down anymore. Red eyes in the dark. He walks straight through them. The power gap is already ridiculous. He has fought alone in dungeons for years. That part is nothing new. What burns is the knowledge that the people who left him here thought this would be the end of his story. They were wrong. He unleashes everything he has. The fight turns brutal in seconds. Green lightning tears through the dark, and even he is stunned by how far the power has already climbed. A gargoyle drops into his path, high level, wings spread, the kind of threat that used to mean a full party wipe. He does not back down, he meets it head on. Then the real problem arrives, something massive and wrong, glowing with purple force, the kind of monster that should not even exist this deep. The air itself feels like it is trying to pull him under. He takes hits he cannot afford. The fight is not pretty, but the old adventurer instincts are still there. If something means to finish him, he finishes it first. Simple as that. Names of the people who left him here are already starting to blur. All that remains is the drive. He tears through everything the dungeon throws, green energy ripping monsters apart as he pushes deeper. Even the beasts that would have ended him before his change fall one after another. He is done holding back. The lower floors are learning exactly what they created when they left an adventurer to be finished off. He puts the last of them down with raw force and a roar that shakes the stone. Experience floods in, 100 points. The level climbs straight from 18 to the cap at 20. Ghoul has hit its limit, evolution condition fulfilled. He stands over what remains of the fight and feels the change coming, whether he is ready or not. This is the moment everything shifts again. Green light erupts around him. The evolution is violent, body rewriting itself from the inside out while he holds on to every scrap of who he used to be. When the light is no more, the status screen updates with a new name. Shapeshifter, rank C, a form that should not exist, standing in the dark with power no living adventurer was ever meant to hold. And somewhere far above, the party that left him behind still has no idea what is climbing back toward them. Here's where everything shifts. Deep in that forgotten dungeon, our betrayed adventurer gets the notification that changes the game. He has evolved into a shapeshifter, and the silhouette standing there is no longer bound by anything human. He stares at the smiling mask that has become his face. He cannot take it off. But this is not a curse to him. This is simply another form, a second body that answers only to his will. Memories start flooding back. He remembers how desperately he wished to be human again after everything was taken from him. That single burning wish is what twisted him into this new shape. The system lays it out cold. A shapeshifter is a unique monster that mimics the living to strike. Those who take this true form almost never return. It is far more dangerous than any simple undead or ghoul. He pulls up the status screen anyway. Level 20, rank C, regeneration and masquerade locked in as skills. When he switches forms, even his body and numbers rewrite themselves. A form that actually looks human, something no ordinary undead or skeleton could ever dream of pulling off. The red eyes burn as the realization hits him hard. He tests the masquerade. For a second, the form turns almost transparent, floating, unstable. Then the power surges and the change begins in earnest. He leans over the water and freezes. Staring back at him is a face he almost forgot. White hair, sharp features, the real him. A little different now, but still Noah, still the man they left behind. So, what is the actual benefit of this new body? The skill window answers. Masquerade lets him take human form temporarily, but it drains MP every 10 minutes, roughly an hour of borrowed humanity before the mask returns. Old memories cut through him like a blade, promises of waiting forever, hands that once carried him, a smiling face from the party that threw him away. The past is still right there under the surface. No more waiting. Noah starts climbing the dungeon walls with raw purpose. He wants the blessing of whatever gigantic monster sits at the heart of this place, and nothing is going to slow him down. He knows how dungeons work. Water mana leaking from ancient souls creates these twisted spaces. Leave the monsters alone too long, and the whole thing becomes an unspeakable disaster. That is why they get sealed, and that is exactly where he is heading deeper. The welcome committee arrives. Gargoyles with glowing red eyes drop in hard. Level 20, same as him, and they do not look like soft targets. The fight gets brutal fast. He takes hits. He feels the limit. Not enough power yet to put these things down cleanly. But Noah has something the living never will. He does not stay down. He closes the distance before they can react. Pink and green energy tears through the air. The gargoyles howl as the undead shapeshifter turns the entire fight around with pure, relentless force. One by one, they fall. 50 experience points flood in. Sitting there glowing, Noah realizes the real advantage. This regenerating body never needs sleep. He can keep going without rest while everything else breaks. The monster spawn rate is climbing higher the deeper he goes. More of them are coming, and that smiling mask is ready for every single one. The people who abandoned him still have no idea what is rising up from the dark. Chapter 10 opens the second the gloves come off. Our undead hero tears through the dark with green energy ripping out of his hands like the dungeon itself just learned to fear him. Slash after slash lights up the cavern. Whatever stood in his way does not stand there long. The power is raw, ugly, and completely his now. And just like that, the system answers 90 experience, level 20 to 21. The climb continues, and every point he gains is another step closer to the people who left him behind. He stands over what is left of the fight and flexes a new trick into existence Shadowfinger, a skill that lets him reach farther and hit harder than any living adventurer ever could. But the real prize is the knowledge. He pieces it together while the green light still fades. Too many monsters gathering in one place means a dungeon disaster. And the only way to stop one is to take down the heart of it, the boss. Red eyes bloom in the dark, a whole swarm of them. The dungeon is already tipping toward catastrophe, and he is standing right in the middle of the storm. Meanwhile, far closer than he expects, a living party is having the exact same conversation. Frank Frey stands there calculating the odds, already preparing himself for what comes next. Isabel Orlando keeps her voice steady, while Shelley Schultz snaps that they have to drop the boss before anyone else becomes a victim. These three still believe they are the ones in control of this dungeon. They talk about chances, about whether anyone is crazy enough to help, about how a dungeon disaster can swallow an entire city if it gets loose. None of them know the real threat is already listening. Frank lays out the plan with that easy confidence of his. They will hit the source hard and clean. Isabel watches him, half convinced, half worried the damage is already worse than anyone admits. From the shadows, the undead studies them. One of the girls feels familiar in a way that twists something deep inside him. Same eyes, same stubborn set to the jaw. He files the thought away for later. Then the quiet ends. Green light detonates across the cavern as the undead moves. Blades and magic answer him at once. The living party suddenly has a new problem standing right in front of them. He does not slow down. Energy pours off him while he tells the dark to follow. Someone on the other side answers with a blazing blue edge that should have been enough to stop anything ordinary. The clash lights the whole tunnel. Frank's eyes go wide. That blue strike was supposed to end the fight. Instead, the undead is still coming, and the word that rips out of someone's mouth is pure disbelief. Another green cut tears past. The living side scrambles to stay calm, trying to talk their way through a threat they still do not understand. Frank keeps his sword up and demands answers the undead has no interest in giving. In the aftermath, the party tries to process what just walked out of the dark. Someone calls Frank a natural born leader, the kind of man who can turn any bad situation around. They still think this is a problem they can manage. But the look on their faces says the truth is already sinking in. Nothing about this encounter felt like a victory. Somewhere deeper in the dungeon, the undead is still moving, still growing, and the people who once threw him away have no idea the disaster they created is now hunting under its own power. Deep in the dungeon, our undead adventurer is alone with his thoughts, and the truth hits hard. The moment he rose again, his whole appearance shifted, yet somehow the living still see the human he used to be. That thin disguise is the only thing keeping him from being exposed right now. A full party of adventurers stumbles across him while he is trying to rest. He keeps his voice calm and simply asks them to overlook him and move on. But the way they stare makes it clear they are already sizing him up. They start whispering. Is he alone? Should they check his level? He looks weak on the surface, yet something about him feels off. Good quality gear is an advantage, but this stranger does not add up. Inside his head, the undead adventurer is already calculating the worst case. If this keeps going, they will figure out what he really is. In the worst moment, he might have to clean the entire group up right here before they can raise an alarm. Then a bright voice cuts through the tension. A cheerful blonde girl named Shelley walks straight up like he is no threat at all. The rest of her party panics and yells at her to stay back, calling him a possible bandit. Shelley just laughs it off. She insists he is not a bad guy. She has seen his face and his record before. One of the others suddenly recognizes him as the adventurer from the party that got wiped out earlier. The whole mood shifts. He tells them he is fine and starts to walk away under their eyes. Shelley keeps smiling and waves him off while her party stays tense. For a second, it looks like a fight might still break out, but nobody makes the first move. Once he is gone, the party argues among themselves. Guido and the others wonder if leaving him alone was smart. Shelley defends him hard, saying he did not seem like a bad person and they cannot just abandon someone they saw fighting for his life. Some of them still feel the itch to deal with the stranger permanently. A hooded member even offers to handle it quietly if the group wants, but in the end, they decide against it. Shelley's kindness and the fact he walked away alone tip the scales. They choose to keep moving deeper as a team, reminding each other they are top ranked and they all need to make it home. The undead adventurer is already out of their sight, and the dungeon keeps getting darker around him. Alone again, he lets the memories surface. His old party ran the second the real dungeon threat appeared. They left him behind without a second thought, and the sting of that betrayal is still fresh. He remembers how easily they turned their backs, cowards who only cared about their own skins. That abandonment is exactly why he is what he is now, and why he will never stop climbing. Sitting in the dark, he makes a quiet promise. He cannot stay human forever, and he no longer wants to. Once he finishes the dungeon boss waiting ahead, he will go straight after the people who threw him away. The pressure in the air thickens. He can feel the dungeon boss long before he sees it. Whatever is waiting in the next chamber is strong enough to make the whole place feel heavy. He steps forward anyway. The thing that rises in front of him is a massive gargoyle king, level 30, rank C, packed with raw power. This is the gatekeeper standing between him and the revenge he came back for. The gargoyle king lets out a roar that shakes the stone itself. Our undead adventurer does not flinch. The real climb starts right now, and nothing in this dungeon is ready for what he has become. Deep in a dungeon nobody wanted to map, the spider gargoyle king announces itself with a roar that rattles bone. Level 30, a dungeon boss with the kind of presence that makes seasoned adventurers forget how to breathe. Fran already knows the truth. It is far too late to turn around and run. Whatever escape route they thought they had is gone, and the only way out is through this nightmare. Guido steps up without hesitation. He will hold the front line. He tells Fran not to even think about bolting. This is the kind of trust that gets people through dungeons, or gets them finished. Steel meets monster. Guido warns that you never face an undead without a real plan, because this thing is here to wipe the entire party. Then he answers with Sword Wave, a blue arc of pure cutting force. The clash is brutal. Guido pours everything into the blade, but the boss simply tanks it. His attack gets shrugged off like it was nothing, and the frustration hits hard. Guido snaps. He screams about a partner left behind to be finished off, driving his sword upward like the accusation itself can cut. The air around him turns sharp with rage. Fran refuses to stay on the sidelines. She launches in hard, and for a second, the whole chamber lights up with her strike. But even she can feel it. This boss is simply stronger than expected. The Gargoyle King moves like a blur. Fran gets level suppressed and still can barely track it. She answers the only way a sword princess knows how, by awakening every ounce of talent the blade has left. She commits fully. One massive overhead cut, everything on the line. The skill lands, and then the cruel truth hits. That ability only had a single use, and it was not enough. She failed to drop it. Guido studies the barrier and realizes the horror of it. The defense feels hollow, almost non physical, yet the body underneath can still be struck. There has to be a way through. There has to be. The boss does not give them time to think. It answers with a crushing counter that sends Guido reeling. Red light floods the chamber. For a moment, it looks like the party is about to be completely overrun. Desperation breeds big magic. They call down Flare Vortex, a roaring spiral of fire meant to cook anything still standing. The Gargoyle King takes the full blast and keeps its shape inside the inferno. Guido looks over and his stomach drops. He thinks Fran is already lost, so he makes the only call left: drop the leader now before the whole formation collapses. He charges in to protect what remains of his people. Cross Slash erupts in a brilliant blue X. Fran screams for Guido to move now. The timing is perfect, until someone overdoes the follow-up and the entire exchange spirals into chaos. A green force punches through. Someone finally slips past the barrier and locks on with targeting attraction. For one heartbeat, it looks like the party might actually seize control of the fight. Then the cost comes due. Fran is down. Retreat is the only sane option left. A hooded figure stands over the wreckage while the survivors argue about choices they never really had, about being forced into a guild and a fight they could not walk away from. Fran has heard enough. She will not run. She will not let anyone else decide her ending. She turns back toward the monster, sword ready, and chooses the fight on her own terms. One girl against a dungeon boss that has already broken her party. Fran raises her blade and calls it out directly. She will take this status monster on right now. And somewhere in the red glow of those eyes, something far worse than a simple boss fight is about to wake up. Chapter 13 drops us straight into the dark. Our revived adventurer stands blade to blade with a towering dungeon boss, those burning red eyes fixed on him like the whole floor wants him finished. The air is thick, the stakes are already sky high, and he is not backing down. Cut away for a second. A familiar face from earlier spots him and freezes. She calls out, half shocked, asking if Bunny really came all the way down here. Recognition hits both of them at once. He remembers her. In the quiet that follows, the weight of everything that happened to him comes rushing back. Left behind in a place no one was meant to search, waiting for the end that never quite stuck. But something is different now. Instead of despair, a strange spark lights up inside him. Why does he feel excited? Because the old limits are gone, and the hunt is just getting started. He clocks the other adventurers nearby and makes the call. His level sits higher than theirs. Hiding is pointless. These people are not ready for what he has become, and he is done playing small. Steel flashes. He launches straight at the boss, green energy screaming off the blade. The Gargoyle King answers with raw power, and the whole chamber lights up as the real fight begins. Status screens slam into view. Dungeon boss, Gargoyle King, level 35. Opposite him stands our shapeshifter, level 21 and climbing. The gap is real, but so is the hunger in his eyes. The exchange turns brutal fast. Claws and steel collide, shockwaves rip through the air, and red Kool-Aid sprays across the stone. He takes the hits and keeps pressing forward like pain is just background noise. From the sidelines, a pink-haired adventurer watches, stunned. Only a little damage on the arm, and somehow that eye on the stomach is still open. She cannot believe he is still standing after what just landed. He eats another heavy strike, and the girl gasps. Nasty hit. She is already writing him off, thinking this is the moment it all ends for him. She has no idea what she is looking at. Wrong. He surges back up, green light flaring around the blade, and answers with a vicious counter. The boss reels as the chamber fills with the sound of pure impact. This undead body does not quit. He eyes a skill the monster just used and wants it for himself. Flare Vortex lights up the status window. Even while the fight rages, he is already calculating the next power up, already thinking like a predator. The Gargoyle King unleashes everything. Fire and force hammer him again and again. The pink-haired girl is convinced this time he is finished for real. The dread on her face says she has seen enough. Yet he rises through the smoke, sword glowing, and drives forward once more. The boss howls as another clash shakes the dungeon. Whatever this shapeshifter has become, it refuses to stay down. The monster starts pulling something big, a sudden surge of power that even the watching girl cannot explain. He answers by pushing harder, taunting the beast, demanding to know just how tough it thinks it is. Mana is fading fast. His status is flashing red, body running on fumes, yet the fire in his eyes has not dimmed one bit. He needs one clean opening, and he is going to take it no matter what it costs. Deep under the earth, the dungeon itself seems to scream. Crimson power rips the dark apart as our revived adventurer stands alone against the nightmare that ruled this place. He is done running. He is ready to take on anything by himself. The air turns into a storm of red force. Every strike lands like a hammer that should have ended the fight already. But the thing in front of him only snarls harder, and the watching adventurers start to realize this is no ordinary clash. An archer on the sidelines feels her red Kool-Aid run cold. At this rate, even he will be overwhelmed. She decides she cannot just watch. She has to move. The arrow flies. Green energy answers from the shadows as a hooded fighter cuts in. For a second, it looks like the tide might turn. Then the real monster of the dungeon shows why it owned this place. A blue-haired adventurer spots the shot coming from behind and freezes. Did it miss? The answer arrives as a wall of red force that nearly flattens everyone. The crack on the beast's chest is growing. This is the only opening they will ever get. They pour everything into that crack. Green light spears through the dark. The dungeon boss howls like the world is ending. Our undead adventurer feels the old human limits trying to creep back in, then remembers he no longer has any. Intuition takes over where thought used to live. He decides the time for half measures is finished. If this thing wants a real fight, he will bring out the power that no living adventurer was ever meant to hold. Green and crimson collide in a blast that lights the entire cavern. The final exchange is pure violence. When the light is no more, the ruler of the underground is finished, and our adventurer is the only one still standing. Experience floods in. Level 21 becomes 22, then keeps climbing. The dungeon is free. Only the path back to the surface remains. And the first thought in his head is simple. They never saw the undead form. Good. The party he just saved can barely believe it. A lone fighter took down a monster none of them had a chance against. Even if he is something other than human, the way he fights speaks of real war experience. Right now, the only question left is who or what he actually is. Species Shapeshifter, level 25. The numbers look beautiful. He leveled hard, but mana is almost gone. Evolution is getting closer. For now, he needs to look human again before anyone asks the wrong questions. Masquerade activates. Human skin slides back into place, burning 1 point of mana every 10 minutes. An orange haired girl steps forward, eyes bright with gratitude, and asks the one question he cannot afford to answer his name. He has no time, mana is fading fast. He turns and walks without a word. She calls after him. The rest of the party can only watch the mysterious savior disappear into the dark, already arguing about whether he works for the dungeon's former master or something far stranger. They piece it together in the quiet that follows. He took a wound that should have dropped him and stood back up like it was nothing. He saved them even while they still looked at him with suspicion. Whatever his circumstances, he is not the villain of this story. Farther off, the undead form flickers back into place. Masquerade almost failed right in front of them. Regeneration has been used too hard, but the payoff is real. Level 25, 26 mana, and a human face he can now hold for roughly 4 hours at a stretch. He cannot stay in one place for a full day's rest let. Still, the thought of walking among normal people again without instantly giving himself away feels almost like victory. Almost. He rises, turns toward the long road back to human society, and starts walking. The people who threw him away still have no idea what is coming, and somewhere ahead, the next piece of his revenge is already waiting. Back in the capital, the Adventurers Guild is buzzing. Word is spreading fast that a dungeon boss got taken down by a single person, and nobody can quite believe it. The witnesses swear it happened. One adventurer claims he only got a look at the fight because he was already running for his life at level 50. Whoever stepped in ended the boss fight like it was nothing. Guildmaster Geralt wants every detail. When they tell him a galley knight appeared out of nowhere and finished the boss in an instant, the old man merely drops his composure. Garel presses them hard. Did anyone see the stranger's face? The answer comes back clear. White hair, purple eyes, and a face that looked every bit like a seasoned fighter. That description hangs in the air. A man with white hair and purple eyes who can erase a dungeon boss alone. Somewhere in the shadows, a hooded figure already knows exactly who they are talking about. The guild keeps digging. The magic stone left behind is rare, heavy with power, and feels wrong just to look at. Untouchable. The kind of prize that only comes from something truly dangerous. Meanwhile, the party that left him behind is already cashing in. They are counting coin, arguing over shares, and acting like the nightmare in that dungeon is already behind them. Shelley is the one they keep circling back to. She still wants to chase the ruined city, still talking about the stranger who saved them. The others just want her to take the money and move on. When the loot gets split, they push a little extra towards Shelley. She lights up like the whole world just got brighter, completely unaware of the storm still walking around with her name in its memory. Frank and the others try to keep the mood light. Shelley is already dreaming about what she can do with her share, while the rest of the party quietly hopes she forgets the ruined city for good. But far from their celebration, the one they abandoned is already moving. He has been hunting, growing, and stacking experience in the dark while they counted coins in the light. A clean 36 experience points land. His status screen lights up with a new edge, Cerberus Shapeshifter, the kind of skill that lets him wear any face he needs. He studies the skill with cold focus. If he can pass for human again, he can walk straight into places no undead should ever reach. Information, access, revenge with a smile on. His mind locks onto one destination, the ruined city of Godheld, a place full of people who know things and a perfect hunting ground for someone who no longer has to play by living rules. He weighs the risk, walk in as himself, and every guard will notice, slip into a human shape, and he can move through the streets like a ghost with a pulse. The decision is already made. He is going to wear a human face, walk into Godhild, and start pulling strings from the inside. The people who left him behind still think they got away clean. Fresh out of the depths, our revived adventurer steps into a foggy city street and takes it all in. So, this is the capital of the kingdom, or so he thinks at first glance. Crowded, loud, and full of the living, exactly the kind of place a guy who came back wrong needs to navigate carefully. He knows the truth about himself. That monster form still lingers under the surface, and walking around looking like this makes him stick out. If he wants to move freely among humans again, he needs coin, real coin, and a way to fix the body he came back in. Nearby, another figure soaks in the simple joy of being around people again. The world was rebuilt so they could live among humans, but loneliness still hits hard when you have no one left. Our adventurer files that feeling away and focuses on the money problem first. He pushes into a shady little shop. The door slams. Inside, a bald broker and a small companion are already mid deal over a glowing red crystal that reeks of stolen goods. Our guy drops coin on the counter like he belongs there. Gold hits the wood. The broker eyes him. Maybe he could use a hand. But this place is no shining capital. It is a commercial town full of social outcasts, and everyone here can smell trouble. The crystal is hot property, and hanging around it is a fast way to get labeled a thief. The warning comes sharp. Take the goods elsewhere if you want, but watch your step if you plan on leaving this city in one piece. Our adventurer does not flinch. He turns and walks out, already calculating how long his current human looking shell will hold up under real scrutiny. Even a child could tell something is off about him. He feels the stares. Then a blonde local enforcer blocks his path, sword at her side, claiming she is well known around these parts. An outsider like him should just stay careful, or better yet, hand over every bit of coin he just got. She grabs him. Protection money, plain and simple, extortion dressed up as a favor. Lightning cracks in his aura as the truth settles in. The world really is nothing but the strong taking from everyone else. He is done playing along. The fight gets brutal fast. She swings, he answers with power no living adventurer should have. Her partner Jeff hits the ground hard. She cannot even track his movement. One moment he is standing still, the next the whole street feels like it belongs to him. Green energy explodes between them. She calls him a dirty rat and tells her people to run. Our adventurer could finish this cleanly, but he lets the moment breathe. She screams she will take him out next time and bolts. The message is delivered. Alone again on the dark street, he takes stock. He has already been exposed. Staying in the open city is a risk he cannot afford. Cloak, blade, shady broker, cheap in room. Hide the face, hide the truth, survive long enough to get stronger. Meanwhile, across town, a warm little orphanage scene unfolds. An orange haired girl hugs the old man who raised her and promises she is a real newcomer now, heading for bigger things in the capital. The money helps, but the real gift is the chance to make a living on her own terms. She will never forget the country that took her in after she was abandoned as a baby. Little brothers and sisters wave her off under a soft green glow. She swears she will come back someday in better form, and the old man can only hope the path ahead stays kind. Night falls. Our hooded adventurer moves through empty streets that feel too much like the dungeon he crawled out of. Something is wrong with the capital's people. He cannot sense them the way he should. Everyone just tricks the senses. Better to stay hidden on the outskirts. He keeps walking, cloak pulled tight, when a bright voice cuts the dark. The orange haired girl from the orphanage freezes, eyes wide, magic flaring around her like recognition itself. She stares straight at the hooded figure who just saved her world once before. You're the one who saved our lives back then. What are the chances? The girl lights up with pure joy while our adventurer's eyes go wide under the hood. The past just walked right up and said his name without knowing it. And whatever comes next, neither of them is ready. Fate has a cruel sense of humor. Our undead hero steps into his old hometown, and the first face he sees is the one person who can unravel everything, his sister Chrome, lighting up like she just found a miracle. Chrome can barely contain it. Meeting again this soon after she thought he was gone forever feels impossible. For Shulk, the timing is pure danger, a reunion in the one place that still holds his past. He is all sparkles and relief while his mind races. He remembers every detail about her, even the little sister who also took up the adventurer path. His status window flares for a second as the weight of it hits. He cannot risk another word. One slip and she will see what he has become. Shulk makes the only choice left and breaks away into the streets before the conversation can go any further. Chrome refuses to let him vanish. She tears after him, shouting that she only wants to say thank you. Shulk runs harder, every step screaming the same fear. Has she already realized he is undead? She keeps closing the gap no matter how fast he moves. Chrome just wants a conversation. Shulk only sees the end of his secret. He ducks into a quiet stretch of alley and eyes the wall like it is his last exit. With the street empty, he lets the undead strength take over. Dark energy coils around his hands as he digs into the stone and climbs, almost clear of the wall, until everything goes wrong. His grip fails and the ground rushes up fast. The landing is brutal, even for a body that no longer follows living rules. Chrome rounds the corner just in time to find her brother sprawled in the dust. She starts apologizing for the chase, but Shulk shuts it down. The whole mess was on him. Now they are finally face to face again, and Chrome is done running in circles. She looks him straight on and asks if he will really let her come along. Of course she will follow. He saved her, he knows her circumstances, and she is not letting this chance slip. Shulk admits a quiet truth. Part of him hoped they would meet again. Names get sorted out in the open street. She is Chrome, still new to the adventurer life and low on the rankings, but stubborn as ever. He gives her something to call him, and for the first time since he rose again, the two of them walk side by side. Chrome talks about the royal capital and how this town will always be home. Yet the air here feels wrong. Locals mutter that the whole place has turned strange, nothing like the quiet streets they grew up with. Then she gives him the real story. The dungeon they called the Hole of Disaster ripped wider without warning. What poured out of it changed the city forever in a single night of chaos. Anyone who could flee packed up and cut contact. The strong stayed. Outlaws who had no place in the capital flooded in next. The hometown Shulk remembered turned into a free-for-all ruled by beasts and greed. The words drag old memories straight to the surface. Shulk sees himself as a boy again, staring up at the church tower with one simple dream: join the guild and become a real adventurer when he grew up. That dream never got the chance to breathe. Strangers stormed the church, took out the protectors, and made their offer with smiles that promised nothing good. They needed bodies, even kids, and they were not leaving without the whole town under their thumb. The boy who would one day rise as undead just stared at the people who stole his home, and somewhere in the present, that same undead is listening, stronger than any of them could imagine. Back at the church, young Tail is done standing on the sidelines. He swears he will get strong enough to protect everyone under that roof, no matter what kind of beasts come knocking. He drops to his knees and begs the invaders to spare the kids. The blonde woman and her partner are not here for mercy. They came to break the seal and take what they want. Tail refuses to back down. He throws everything he has into a fireball, pouring his mana out like his life depends on it. The older man watching barely flinches. The spell lands soft, useless. The man calls Tails' technique amateur and answers with a real skill, a thunderbolt that rips the air apart and leaves the boy stunned. Purple lightning tears through the hall. When the smoke clears, the man is still standing, calm as ever, and Tail is out of options. Pride will not save him here. Steel flashes. Teal draws and charges anyway, because that is who he is. The blonde woman watches the clash and tells him straight, run, now. Tail bolts, the blonde almost chases, but her partner Jeff holds her back. There are plenty of other brats still inside, and they still have business with the old man. Outside, the kids freeze at the noise. The blonde has the father by the throat, blade ready, and makes the threat crystal clear. Move, and she finishes him right in front of them. She starts working him over with dark magic, slow and deliberate, while the father begs them to spare the children. He will do anything. He knows every street in this city. Across town, Shelley is wandering alone when a hooded figure steps out of the dark. Glowing eyes, cold presence, it is Chrome, the undead who should not even be walking this world. Tail finds them, and the name hits like a hammer, Shelley. Then the real news drops. The invaders are going after their father at the church, and there is no time left. Chrome does not hesitate. That sounds bad, he says, and he is going with them. Personal or not, the church is under attack, and the undead is done watching from the shadows. Back at the church, the father is still refusing to break. Lightning rips through him again and again, but he looks the kids in the eye and tells them he loved them and that he never backed down. The blonde sneers and raises another blast, ready to make an example of him. Then a green slash cuts the air. Someone just crashed the party. Chrome stands over the fallen, hood low, eyes burning. The blonde freezes. That man, she remembers him. Shelley spots the red pendant and confirms it. The guild mark. It is really him. The blonde draws power and tells him straight. If he knows who they are and still walked in here, he had better be prepared for the end. Purple energy explodes between them. The undead did not come to talk. Chapter 19 drops us straight into the dark. Our revived adventurer stands cloaked and silent, those cold green eyes cutting through the gloom like he already owns the night. Somewhere nearby, ordinary people are starting to notice something is very wrong. A blonde adventurer freezes mid-step. She knows that face. Recognition hits her like a slap, and she cannot keep the words in. She thought he was just some coward who ran with his tail between his legs. Turns out the brat came back looking nothing like prey. The air goes heavy, orders get barked, someone insists nobody is stopping this command. An older voice laughs that there is no way out of this one. Our undead just watches, calm as a grave, while the living scramble to decide who is actually in control. They try to size him up. One of them notes he looks more threatening than before, and maybe that still works in their favor. Our hero does not flinch. He has already returned once, completely intact, completely unbound, and he makes it clear their ordinary lives mean nothing on this line. Steel comes out. The blonde charges with everything she has, green energy screaming off her blade. The clash is brutal and fast. She lands hits that should matter. They do not. One exchange later, she is gasping, asking what kind of attack just answered her. He tells her straight, do not treat this like another monster hunt. He is operating on a level she has never touched. She refuses to accept it, swinging harder, shouting that she will not fold. The gap only gets louder with every exchange. Her hands start shaking. She tries to call it rage, pure fury at someone more detestable than any monster. But the truth slips out anyway. She is not trembling because she is angry. She is trembling because she finally understands what is standing in front of her. Then the real problem arrives. A silver haired mage steps in, purple circles blooming under his feet. One word, thunderbolt. The sky answers. Lightning tears the space apart, and our undead takes the full weight of a spell built to erase people who get in the way. The mage studies him through the aftershock. Not ordinary, skilled enough to still be standing, but the mage is already writing him off as a ruined nobody in a forgotten town. Our hero just lifts his blade again, green light answering purple, and the two forces slam together. Even the blonde cannot believe it. He is holding his own against a magic user. She tries to take his back while he is busy, but the fight has already drawn fresh red Kool-Aid into the ring. A dual-wielding girl with fire in her eyes drops in and claims the undead as her opponent. She comes in screaming that she will make him regret looking down on her. Fast, aggressive, experienced, and still completely outclassed. One exchange later, she is eating dirt, realizing the level gap is not something grit alone can close. The blonde watches her ally get schooled and asks if she is serious. The dual wielder just laughs. First real fight with your life on the line, huh? She calls them naive, second rate adventurers and admits she actually loves playing with women who still think heart is enough. Meanwhile, the silver haired mage keeps pressing our undead. He can tell this one is elite, the last dangerous piece of whatever group he came from. The mage asks why a boy would even choose this fight. Strong exists to dominate the weak. That is simply nature. The lecture keeps coming. Suppose you grow stronger. Nothing changes. High-level people fighting only crushes the weak who could never approach them. Whatever power you think you have, you will never reach us. Walk away. This is the last warning. Our undead has heard enough. He is not here to be sorted into miserable and strong. There is no world where he yields to threats and runs after coming this far. The mage's face twists. Damn fool, he never intended to go all out in a place like this. But he will not allow this nonsense to continue. Purple lightning erupts around his blade. Lightning sword, additional magic layered on pure force. He promises to burn our hero to charcoal in seconds and leave him with nothing but regret for the choice he made. The charged blade comes down in a storm of violet light. Our undead has nowhere left to hide and no intention of backing off. The people who once threw him away still have no idea what kind of monster they created, and this mage is about to find out first. Chapter 20 opens with purple lightning ripping the air apart. Someone is screaming for our undead hero to go down already, pouring everything into the assault. But the man they left behind already came back once. He is not folding that easy. His body is drinking in something dark and wrong. He can feel control starting to slip through his fingers. The force hammering him is not letting up for a second. He dodges, he weaves, but he knows the math. Keep this up, and he is the one who eats the hit. At this rate, the wall is going to become his worst enemy. Cut away. A brown haired fighter is calling for help in the middle of her own brutal scrap. A cold voice cuts in and asks if he really has time to worry about anyone else right now. She answers with pink magic tearing across the field. Her opponent is stunned. This girl is tougher than anyone gave her credit for, and the fight is dragging longer than planned. She should have finished this already. Frustration burns across her face as she wonders why she is the one struggling. Something about this opponent is wrong. A blonde swordsman watches the whole thing and does not hold back. He tells her there is no determination or resolve in her swings. The words land like a slap. She snaps. She would never come up short against someone like him. Tempers flare hard while the blonde just stares, that green gem on his chest catching the light. As purple energy builds around her, she wonders if the man she once admired is really this weak willed. She calls herself pathetic for ever looking up to someone with so little spine. The blonde finally moves. He tells himself he should at least help her as fast as he can. A massive purple blast answers him, and the whole field lights up. Back with our undead. The blast is huge, and he knows the truth. He cannot block forever. If he gets pinned against that wall, it is game over, and the enemy has already figured him out. Lightning crackles in the hands of another fighter. Our hero asks himself what he should do. A green orb floats in the dark as he considers canceling the transform entirely. Nearby voices talk about how the person inside turned into a monster. Shelby would never be able to keep fighting like this, but there is no way he can drop his human form, not now. He stops himself. Is that really true? In the worst case, he loses the human shape again. But he is somebody now. He has been protecting the only human left in this dungeon, and the thought of her and the children fearing him cuts deeper than any blade. What if he only hides the human form when it is dark and no one is looking? The decision locks in. Whatever happens, if they cannot remember him, then this ends here. Lightning Sword ignites in his grip, two spells at the same time. The clash is brutal. An arm takes the hit and the enemy screams, but this body cannot be cut or slashed the way a living one can. Our undead looks him gone in the eye and says it plain. End of the line. The adventurer is barely hanging on. He took hits straight to the vitals on purpose and still will not drop. The sword is stuck inside our hero, who is already healing around the steel while a strange stone pulses. He has caught him completely. In a blink, he is over their heads. That aura smells almost familiar. He became undead and came back stronger than before, regeneration already active. The enemy can only scream one question as green power builds for the finish. What the hell are you? The dust is still settling and nobody can believe what just happened. That young man really took down the lightning guy. No way. Radosan lost? Chrome stands there in the green glow, calm as ever, lantern light cutting through the dark. So then what now? He can still do more. The fight is nowhere near finished. Shelly steels herself. It is 2 versus 1 now. The blonde swordsman charges in hard, but Chrome is already moving like the rules no longer apply to him. He cannot be healed. Take this. Shadow mist erupts, and the whole exchange turns brutal in a heartbeat. Purple haze swallows the room. It is a smoke screen. Then the crash. The blonde goes straight through the wall, screaming he will thrash the entire building if he has to. Chrome already made the rules in Godfield. Do not think this ends easy. You will regret this. One heavy step and the room is empty. Chrome already charged right out. He somehow made it through in this form. Alone in the quiet, Chrome stares at his glowing hand. What should he do now? Thinking about it will not change anything. The path ahead is already set. Back with the others, the old man is safe. Thank you, Shelly-chan. The kids are alive because Chrome was there. God knows what would have happened without him. Chrome checks on the old man. Is the wound okay, Chrome-san? That poke went pretty deep. The old man forces a smile. Yeah, he has a healing spell, but Chrome already knows he needs to get back to the inn. Shelley is done staying quiet. Father, you cannot stay in Godfield anymore. It is better if he leaves the city for a while. The evil dragons will come again. He has to move to the capital. The old man cannot do that. The capital would be safer, sure, but leaving the rest of the city behind, and the kids are far from the capital. Bringing them would be a tough task. Shelley will not hear it. Look at what those evil dragons already did. I will help as best I can, so let us leave this city. The old man breaks. Those guys care a lot about appearances. They will come for revenge no matter what. The evil dragons will target him now. Thank you so much for today. Shelley is truly sorry she caused so much trouble. Chrome and Shelley walk off together into the quiet streets, the weight of everything still hanging between them. What are you gonna do now, Chrome-san? He was thinking of heading back to the inn for a bit, but he does not have any plans after that. Shelley, what about... Wait, he cannot ask her so easily. He cannot just leave Shelley-chan alone here, but Shelley herself is being targeted by the evil dragons. She has to remain at the church to protect everyone. She cannot just walk away. Just what should she do? And so Godfield fell into ruin. People found the dungeon as soon as it appeared north of town. Knights were dispatched from the capital to clear it out. All 50 of them were taken out. Ever since then, that place has been avoided. Chrome's eyes light up with purpose. If he can free Godfield from the evil dragons, he originally came here just to find a place to level up. A dungeon that finished the nation's knights would qualify. He is as tough as a monster now. He should be able to level up deep inside that dungeon to save Godfield and to evolve to the next form. Chrome has his next target, and nothing in that dungeon is ready for what is coming. Deep in the shadows of the evil dragon's territory, the air is thick with leftover fear. A battered survivor staggers in, begging for something to drink, and the name Bardo gets dragged through the mud for running from a fight like a coward. The blond man tries to play it cool, claiming everything is finished, but the hooded figure opposite him cuts straight through the act. Pretty strong, sure, still reeks of pure terror. And the one who will regret ever opposing them? That threat hangs heavy. Meanwhile, the real power in the room is about to make an entrance. Enter Galzu, boss of the evil dragons. The blonde subordinate freezes the second that massive presence fills the chamber. One casual question from the boss, and the whole room tilts. Galzu wants the truth about how they view him. The answer comes out shaky and full of praise, calling him amazing and inspiring. Then the boss casually asks if that brat named Jeff somehow made it out alone. The subordinate scrambles to reassure him. Of course, Jeff is finished. Nobody walks away from that. Galzu just laughs, soaking in the envy of being the one everyone fears. But the name Codfield Monster still lingers in the air like a bad omen. Galzu turns his attention to Canella. Why has the number of slaves dropped? She answers cold, saying she does not need permission. She has been prioritizing another emergency entirely. Someone has been setting traps and vanishing. Canella has been busy investigating. Galzu is not amused. If these mystery players waste his time, he will teach them a lesson the same way he taught her. Canella stays calm and offers to check on them. She wants a little more time to figure out whether they are after the evil dragons or hunting the legendary Hole of Paradise itself. Meanwhile, north of the city, our undead hero Jeff stands alone under the night sky, fully recovered, strength and stamina back to peak. He is as ready as he can possibly be. He finds the dark pit that once made Codfield suffer. The Hole of Paradise does not even need digging. And right then he notices something odd. Adventurers are already out here before the sun has even risen. Monsters pour out of the dungeon and the fight turns brutal fast. Fireballs fly, shields crack, and the party is getting pushed hard. One girl finishes threats from range while a swordsman can barely hold the line. Jeff watches from the shadows, deciding he might just observe. Then the holy magic flares, a holy shield blooms, a holy sword ignites. The adventurers are skilled, but the monsters keep coming. He steps in, one clean green slash, and the pressure drops. The party stares. This stranger just erased a threat with ridiculous ease. The girl with the holy blade feels the difference in power immediately. They thank him, still shaken. The mana around this man is flowing in a direction that should not be possible. Jeff simply says he is heading to a big city. No one else seems to be around. Alone again, Jeff looks at his own hand. That incredible power answered him without effort. A small smile forms under the hood. Time to test exactly what he has become. The dust is still settling after the last wave. Our undead adventurer stands in the dark, replaying the fight in his head. Those things were high level, sure, but something about this whole dungeon still feels completely off. He freezes. That gut feeling will not shut up. Something is wrong here, and the shadows are starting to answer. Meanwhile, the people who just watched him work are already whispering. Nothing about this man feels ordinary. He is no regular human, and one of them is almost certain he is undead, just not like any undead they have ever seen. One of the girls decides she has to confirm it for herself. Back with the survivors, our guy is just glad nobody got hurt. Protecting people still feels right, even in this new body. The townsfolk swarm him with thanks. If he and his companion had not been there, the whole place would have gone up in flames. He gathered everyone just so they could say it face to face. He tries to wave it off, saying he does not need the praise. 5 days of wolf attacks, more beasts than people, and somehow these two still held the line. Then little Mallow comes flying in. Dad is safe, the whole family is still standing because of the strangers who refused to run. The father pulls his daughter close and makes it clear. Every bit of this survival is thanks to the two young heroes. Mallow is sparkling, calling them amazing. The praise is almost too much. He is standing there embarrassed when the worst possible realization hits. That thing is still moving. One massive eye opens in the dark. The monster that should have been finished is very much not done, and the whole village is about to pay for it. Fire erupts. He knows he has to end this before everything burns, but he still does not know if he can control the full strength of what he has become. His companion throws up a holy shield and tells him to handle the rest. The beast is already charging. There is no time left to hesitate. She grabs the kid and runs. He reaches out and realizes the hard truth. At this speed, he will never make it in time. Not like this. Monster form would get him there. But dropping the disguise in front of all these people, in front of that one girl he might never see again, the cost is real. He calls himself an idiot and stops holding back. The night lights up with raw power as the fight turns brutal and the ground itself starts to shake. The beast never saw it coming. One clean surge of green force carves straight through it. Experience floods in. 38 XP. The threat is finished. He stands over what is left while the villagers are still screaming that another monster just appeared. They have no idea the real nightmare is the one who just saved them, and he is only getting started. Chapter 24 drops us straight back into the fog and the fallout. Our undead hero stands there after another brutal clash, and the people around him are only just starting to understand they are looking at something that should not exist. He does not regret the choice that brought him here. Still, staring at the mess he has made, he admits the quiet truth to himself. He really messed this one up. Nearby, worry turns to a young girl caught in the middle of it all. She seems all right, but the Duchess is having none of it and snaps for everyone to get away from her daughter. Then the accusation lands like a hammer. Someone points straight at the threat and screams the word that hangs over this whole story: "You monster." Steel and light explode across the street. A fighter with sharp green eyes steps in hard, and the fight gets ugly fast as the creature is forced into the open. The creature finally speaks. It is a shapeshifter, craftier and far more dangerous than anything they faced before, and the adventurers feel the dread hit them all at once. Panic breaks loose. They are done for, and they know it. Someone even shouts the question hanging over the whole city: why are the evil dragons nowhere to be found when it actually matters? But our undead hero is calm in the middle of the storm. This is fine, he decides. He did the right thing. He cannot walk among the living the way he used to, and raw power gathers around him as he takes what he needs. The shapeshifter form starts coming apart. People can only stare as the truth sinks in. They have no idea how deep this goes or how much they still do not understand. In the quiet after, the survivors try to process what they just saw. That was no ordinary shapeshifter. One of them knows the threat has to be ended before it slips away for good. A determined girl tightens her grip on her blade and cuts through the hesitation. Are you just going to stand there and wait, or are we finishing this? Doubt creeps in among the witnesses. That thing was a man-eating monster, or maybe, just maybe, he was a good monster the whole time. Even a child looks up and calls for her father while they try to make sense of the stranger who glanced their way. The pieces click. He fought the monster and protected the city, and when it was over, he looked straight at one of them like he was checking whether she was all right. That is not how a mindless beast behaves. Elsewhere, Captain Elvan is furious. He corners his own people for drawing eyes they cannot afford. He told them to keep a low profile, and now the whole city is watching. The captain lays out the real stakes: Medusa poison, a demon loose in town, and a shapeshifter that appeared mid battle. Their mission is bigger than any single street fight. The safety of the entire nation sits on the line. When someone pushes back about protecting lives, the captain does not blink. Duty comes first. He even offers to settle the argument right there if anyone plans to get in the way of the mission. Orders come down hard: follow up on the Red Man, keep the air clean around the monster disaster, and above all, do not forget what actually matters. Yes, sir, is the only answer anyone is allowed to give. While the living argue about duty, our undead hero has already moved on. He finds the crater left by the shapeshifter nest and decides the city is too hot for him now. Fine, he will clear the entire hole himself, farm every scrap of strength, evolve, and walk back into the capital in a brand new form. And he is not the only one making that choice. Young Shelley faces her father, apologizes, and still walks away. If the evil dragons and the knights will not protect anyone, she will clear the hole of disaster and save this town herself, no matter how reckless it is. Deep under the cracked stone of a forgotten dungeon, our undead adventurer keeps moving. The place once held out against royal knights, and the air still feels heavy with old battles. He tells himself he has to stay careful. His plan is simple: clear this ruin, get out, and vanish again before anyone upstairs realizes he came back. Being alone is perfect for a devourer of monsters. No party, no betrayal, just pure hunting. He decides to rest before pushing deeper into the ruins. The halls stay quiet a little too long. No enemy in sight usually means something worse is waiting just out of view. His blade comes free with a cold green glow. He can already feel the pressure building. Whatever lives down here wears armor tougher than anything he expected this early. Then the ground shakes. A massive cursed demon spider bursts out of the dark, screeching loud enough to rattle the walls. One look and he knows this fight is going to get brutal. Sticky glider webs snap across the corridor. The spider mocks his broken sword like it already owns the takeout. Worse, there are 6 of them, every one sitting at level 25. They start casting. Earth magic stone bullets rain down while the webs try to pin him in place. He cannot dodge forever, and they clearly love playing with their prey before finishing the job. But this undead body does not break the way a living one does. He tanks the damage, raises his sword, and decides the whole nest is going down right now. Their nasty tricks are about to backfire. More sticky webs slam into him. For a second, it looks bad. Then that familiar grin spreads across his mask. If they want to wrap him up, he will just use the opening they create. He rips free and answers with a clean slash. One spider drops, another. Green energy floods the hall as he shouts that they are wide open. The nest starts falling apart under his blade. Experience pours in. Level 25 becomes 26 in a flash. His species as a shapeshifter keeps climbing way too fast, and he is not complaining. Stronger prey just means bigger gains. He almost enjoys the idea of hunting high-level monsters forever down here. Then the air changes. Something heavier steps out of the deeper dark. A cursed demon spider knight, level 30, eyes glowing green. He tries to bait it and slip past, but the knight is too fast. One wrong move and the chase is on. Webs fill every exit. He realizes too late that the monster herded him straight into a trap. No way out. Thick strands seal the corridor on every side. The spider knight closes in while he stands trapped in the middle of its web. Running is finished. Hiding is finished. He steadies his breathing and lets the green light rise again. If he cannot clear this whole disaster, he will never leave these ruins. So he raises the sword one more time. Blade high, eyes locked, he makes the only choice left. He is going to take this knight down like his entire second life depends on it. And somewhere in the dark, that monster is about to learn what real dread feels like. Deep in the unmapped dark, our undead adventurer stands face to face with a nightmare of a spider. Multiple glowing green eyes, a body the size of a house, and pure taking out intent rolling off it in waves. This is not a warm-up fight. This is a wall. The spider lunges first. Purple energy screams through the air as those fangs come down hard. Most living adventurers would already be finished. He is not most adventurers. He slips the strike by a hair and answers with his own blade. The spider cannot believe anything that small just dodged it. That moment of shock is all he needs to start carving. The hits land, but the monster barely flinches. Its body is simply too massive. Even a clean strike only slows the neck. He clocks it instantly. Brute force alone will not cut it. Then the grin spreads across that stitched face. He has already decided he can beat this thing right here, right now, and he has just the skill for it. Red Kool-Aid thread. Crimson strands explode from him like living wire. The spider does not even have time to process how fast the skill is before the red Kool-Aid lines are already wrapping and ripping. He rides the momentum hard, treating the brand new skill like a toy he has owned forever. Every lash forces the spider back. For the first time, the monster looks rattled. But he knows better than to get cocky. That spider still has tricks left, and every second he spends trading blows is a second something worse can happen. He needs this finished yesterday. Too late, the spider drops its real card, Spiderweb. Thick strands explode across the cavern, and the second they touch him, he is locked down. One wrong move, and it is game over. He is cornered. His undead body is already screaming at its limits. He cannot thrash his way out of this the way a living fighter might. For a second, it looks like the dungeon is about to claim him a second time. Then the memory hits. He was human once, and humans had options the undead body keeps forgetting. A wild idea sparks. If the current form is too slow to dodge, change the form. Masquerade. Blue light swallows him whole, and when it clears, he is standing in a leaner, faster human shape with a real sword in hand. Suddenly, the web is not a the end sentence, it is just an obstacle. He rockets straight at the spider's face. Those green eyes never saw a target this quick. One by one, he starts taking them. Every eye he blinds is another piece of the monster's world going dark. The spider panics and dumps sticky web on top of everything. He gets snared mid-combo, slammed, and his arm nearly wrenched out of place. The fight turns ugly fast. Red Kool-Aid hits the floor. He hits the ground hard, arm hanging wrong, the spider already opening that massive maw to finish the job. Most people would fold. He just looks up with that stitched smile and decides the arm can complain later. One perfect window. He drives the blade home while the spider is still committed to the bite. Green light tears through the monster as he carves it open from the inside out. The cavern fills with the sound of something ancient finally losing. When the light fades, he is the only one still standing, sword buried in what used to be a dungeon terror. Another monster down, another power claimed, and somewhere far above, the party that left him behind still has no idea the thing they abandoned just got a whole lot harder to stop. Deep in the dungeon, nobody maps, Chrome is already mid-swing. The fight is brutal, his blade humming with that cold purple light, and when the dust settles, the system finally pays out. 1500 XP, level 26 straight to 33 in one go. He stands there, catching his breath that he no longer needs, staring at the new numbers. Species, shapeshifter. Just how did he even win that last exchange? The calculations keep rolling and the power keeps climbing. A massive horned spider drops in next, green eyes glowing in the dark. Chrome does not flinch. He draws the sword, lets the new strength settle into his bones, and meets the thing head on. Regeneration flares, wounds that would have finished anyone else simply close. He drops into a sit, sword across his knees, already thinking about the climb out while his mana ticks back up. Fresh prey wanders close. Chrome rises the second his reserves allow it, and the hunt continues. Goblin-like things never stood a chance against what he has become. The grind does not stop. Levels keep stacking until the board reads 37. Plenty of stamina, plenty of mana, and still that quiet frustration. At this pace, the upper floors feel endless. Then the hunger hits. Nothing living left in the immediate dark. Chrome stares at his own hand and reaches for an old skill from the days when he still breathed, something half forgotten that might keep him moving. Masquerade. The skill wraps around him like a second skin. For a little while, he can wear a face the living will not immediately fear. And right on cue, footsteps echo through the stone. Shelley. Of all the people who could have wandered this deep, it is her. She freezes, eyes wide, and the name slips out before she can stop it. Chrome San. He answers with equal shock. Shelley. She cannot believe how far down he has come on his own. He tells her the simple truth. He came here to raise his level and nothing else. She pulls out a worn map of the dungeon like it is the most natural thing in the world. Chrome can already guess why she is really here. Back in town, people are worried. A family waiting, someone who walked into this place alone. He feels that old softness trying to surface and shuts it down hard. She came to conquer the dungeon by herself. He came for power. For a long moment, neither of them moves. Then the decision lands. They will take the whole thing together. Shelley talks about the people of the town, the strange blue lights, the mana crystals that grow in the deep. She even claims she knows something about the dungeon boss. Chrome files every word away. Masquerade stays active, buying him a human shape for 10 minutes at a time. He looks at her, really looks, and gives the only answer that makes sense. All right, he will go with her. Miles away, in a place thick with red light and worse intentions, a different conversation is happening. A scarred man and a dark haired woman discuss a poor, desperate fool who walked into their territory. They are not finished with him. A blue haired operative reports failure. She did not find the target. The response is immediate and violent. Orders were clear: no loose ends, no survivors from that hole. The horned leader has heard enough. He will head to the hole of disaster himself, gather every fighter, make every adventurer who crawled out of that place regret the day they ever drew breath. Chrome and Shelley have no idea the net is already closing. Deep in the dungeon, the air goes still for half a second. Then the spiders drop, massive, red-eyed, and hungry. Chrome and Shelley are already moving before the first one even hits the ground. Shelley locks in immediately. She will handle the real threats while the swarm keeps coming. Chrome just tightens his grip on the blade and waits for the opening. Purple light flares. Shelley throws color seep powder straight into the pack. The spiders reel as the powder hits, and Chrome is already cutting through the chaos. The powder does its job. Their eyes shift color, and the whole swarm starts to lose coordination. Chrome does not waste the chance. He drives forward with that cold, undead focus. Green energy rips through the dark. The fight gets brutal fast. Chrome carves a path while Shelley keeps the pressure on, and one by one the spiders go down hard. When the dust settles, the system pings. Experience floods in. Chrome levels from 37 straight to 38. Another step stronger in a place that keeps trying to finish him. They catch their breath in the quiet. Shelley points deeper. Next left should open a path further down. Chrome just stares into the dark like he already knows what is waiting. Chrome mutters that he suffered for no reason, running so far in a single day. Shelley studies the map and admits the branches are endless. Clues point toward the evil dragons, but the trail keeps splitting. The map itself is a nightmare of ink and sacrifice. Shelley wonders how many people it took just to chart one branch. This thing covers the deepest den of corruption, and she wants to be someone who actually cares about that. Chrome looks at her and something soft cuts through the cold. He only told her the truth because she is someone he can trust. He says her name quietly, Shelley, and for a second, the dungeon feels less empty. He thinks about how truly kind she is, how she raised him up when everything else tried to drag him under. Then the shadows move again. Red eyes open in the dark. Something much worse just arrived. An Arachne, high level, laughing like the hunt is already over. Webs snap out, Chrome gets yanked, and the fight turns ugly in a heartbeat. This thing is not like the swarm. Species window flashes. Arachne, level 42. Chrome forces himself free and closes the distance. Shelley shouts that he has to stay close or the webs will pick them apart one by one. Chrome answers with steel and green light. He cuts through the threads while Shelley pulls a spellstone. Fire, exactly what an Arachne hates. She hurls it and the whole chamber lights up. The Arachne burns and screams. Chrome does not let up. One clean finishing strike ends it. Shelley is already smiling through the smoke. They actually took that monster down together. Experience crashes in again, level 38 to 40. Chrome checks his status, species Darkshifter. He started as something else entirely and clawed his way into this form. Evolution is still waiting if he keeps pushing. They talk about the real boss deeper in, a devil woman named Chromie who has been feasting on soldiers and adventurers for too long. Shelley wants a short rest first. Chrome agrees. The nightmare is almost ready to end. But far from the dungeon, another conversation is happening. An adventurer girl slipped into the hole of disaster. Search parties are moving, and someone coldly notes that a certain slave will lose every last scrap of value if the truth comes out. Chrome has no idea the world above is already closing in. Chrome has been grinding in the dark, and the payoff is starting to show. Regeneration keeps him standing no matter how ugly the training gets, and his shapeshifter core is climbing higher than any living adventurer could dream. He looks over the wreckage of his practice dummies and already knows the truth. Head on against the real threat waiting deeper in would still be a nightmare, but the tables are finally turning on the disaster that has Godfield under siege. Back with the others, the mood is tense. They know Chrome is the only one who has ever faced this kind of pressure and come back stronger. One of them is already prepared to throw herself into the fire if the moment demands it. They put their faith in him completely. The pure path Chrome cuts is the only tomorrow they can see, and the labyrinth finally opens onto the thing that has been crushing everyone else. There it is, the dungeon boss, a Wendigo, rank C, level 52, packed with enough raw power to fold high ranking adventurers like paper. Chrome takes one look and the calculation is instant. Those claw swipes are no joke. Even a C-plus party would get erased in a straight fight inside the monster's own territory. Chrome Sand makes the call right away. They have zero chance trading blows head on. The plan is simple and brutal. Cripple the legs, force the Wendigo to slow down. Chrome will buy the opening while his partner runs the distraction, and together they start carving the foundation of a real win. Green energy flares as Chrome charges. The fight explodes into motion, and the Wendigo answers with pure savagery. Every swing is heavy enough to end the round if it connects clean. Chrome keeps circling, always moving, never letting those claws pin him down. He is managing for now, but he can already feel the clock ticking. Without backup, this would have been game over already. They go for the legs hard. Chrome pours everything into the foundation strike, calling it out as the monster's greatest weak point. The hide is absurdly tough. Even his best cuts barely scratch the surface. His partner refuses to stay on the sidelines. She launches in with blazing light, only to discover the aura around this thing feels like solid metal. The Wendigo answers with a roar that shakes the whole chamber. A heavy counter catches Chrome clean and drops him. For a second, it looks bad. Then the regeneration kicks in, chewing through the damage the way only an undead body can. He is back on his feet, but the cost is climbing fast. He knows the ugly truth about his own kind. Most undead get finished the moment they stop moving and let the regeneration drain them dry. So Chrome keeps dancing, keeps the pressure on, refusing to give the Wendigo a clean target. His partner prioritizes keeping him in the fight over landing her own hits. The pressure is worse than anything they faced back at Godfield, and Chrome can feel the edge slipping. One wrong choice and they both go down here. The shapeshifter option sits right there in his core. Unleash it, and the Wendigo would panic. But the second he transforms, coordination with his partner collapses. They would no longer be able to cover each other. Chrome locks eyes on the monster and makes the call. Hesitation is the real enemy now. If he cannot manage this form, they are both finished in this hole. No more holding back. The dungeon air goes cold the second this thing steps out of the dark. A massive winged devil with burning red eyes, and Chrome's companion freezes as its laughter rattles the stone. This is no ordinary monster. This is the kind of nightmare that ends parties for good. Chrome does not flinch. While she stumbles back in pure dread, he already has his blade up and glowing. He tells the devil straight, its real opponent is right here. The undead adventurer just claimed the fight. He vanishes and reappears behind the beast in a burst of purple light, sword already swinging. The first exchange is pure speed and force. Chrome is not testing the waters. He is trying to end this before the devil can even breathe. But this monster is slippery. It twists, counters, and forces Chrome to chase shadows while green energy carves the air. Every swing looks clean, yet the devil keeps slipping just out of reach like it already knows the script. Then the real problem shows its face. The devil spreads its wings and unleashes Devil's poison breath, a thick, toxic cloud that floods the chamber. Chrome's companion catches a lungful, and the coughing starts immediately. The air itself just turned against them. She staggers, eyes watering, barely able to stay upright. Chrome realizes the poison will keep stacking if they stay locked in close, so he makes the call, temporary retreat, buy space, rethink the whole approach before the cloud finishes what the claws started. They fall back into the dark and the plan snaps together fast. Ordinary steel cannot pierce the hide of something this nasty, and the poison makes a straight brawl, giving up by another name. So they change the rules. Heat, flying powder, a controlled blast to open a real window. She loads the powder and Chrome gives the signal. The throw is clean. The chamber lights up orange as the blast erupts right in the devil's face, forcing it to reel and snarl. For one perfect second, the monster is off balance and blind. Chrome does not waste the opening. He surges back in with the blade already singing, green light cutting through the smoke. The devil answers with raw fury, claws and tail whipping through the air hard enough to shatter stone. This is no longer a duel, it is a brawl for survival. A heavy strike lands and Chrome goes flying. Any living adventurer would be done right there. But he is not living. He hits the ground, pushes himself up, and the wounds start closing while his companion watches in pure shock. The devil just learned the hard way that finishing Chrome is not that simple. She calls out to him, voice cracking with worry, but Chrome is already calculating the next angle. Regeneration is his edge. Every hit the devil lands only buys him another chance to adapt. The monster thought it was hunting prey. It is fighting something that refuses to stay down. Chrome steadies his stance, and the green energy around his sword flares brighter than before. He is done reacting. He is hunting the rhythm of the devil's attacks, waiting for the exact heartbeat where the monster overcommits. One clean opening is all he needs. The devil lunges. Chrome meets it head on. Steel rings against claw in a shower of sparks as both fighters pour everything into the clash. His companion can only watch, heart in her throat, knowing that if Chrome falters now, the whole chamber becomes a grave. He takes another brutal hit and drops to one knee, red eyes still locked on the target. The devil looms over him, certain the fight is finished. Chrome's companion screams his name. For a second, the dungeon goes quiet enough to hear a heartbeat that is not supposed to exist. Then Chrome rises again. The undead body knits itself back together while pure fighting will floods every limb. He did not come back from the bottom of a forgotten dungeon just to fold here. The devil wanted a victim. It got a nightmare that keeps standing up. His companion sees the fire in his eyes and answers it. She charges in beside him, blade ready, no longer the scared girl from the opening. Together they press the devil hard, green light and steel crashing against black hide as the monster finally starts to feel real pressure. Chrome drives forward through the chaos, sword blazing, body already healing the latest wounds mid-swing. The devil reels under the combined assault, red eyes wide with something that looks a lot like shock. And just when the tide finally starts to turn, the real question hits. How much further can an undead body be pushed before even regeneration hits its limit? The dungeon boss is going down hard. Chrome tears through the monster with raw undead power, green energy ripping the thing apart while the whole chamber shakes. This is the kind of finish living adventurers only dream about. When the dust settles, Chrome is still standing. The threat that had Contrell on the edge is finally finished, and the silence after that kind of fight hits different. Shelley can barely process what just happened. Then the system lights up like a festival. Chrome just banked over 5,000 experience and rocketed from level 40 all the way to 47 in one shot. He has never felt a surge like this before. The skill tree expands right in front of him. Chrome stares at the glowing interface and quietly admits it to himself. It really is over, for real this time. Shelley is pure joy. Tears, smiles, the whole thing. They actually cleared it, and now everyone back in Contrail has a real shot at being saved. She can barely contain how happy she is. Chrome stays quiet through the celebration. Shelley catches the mood and softens, apologizing for getting carried away the second the danger passed. She had honestly thought her own attempt might end with her being finished instead. He tells her the truth. If she had not been there, nobody would have made it out. Chrome is honestly grateful to Shelley, and for a moment, the grim undead almost sounds human again. Time to check the new limits. Chrome pulls up his status, and the numbers are ridiculous. Species shapeshifter, level 47, and there is still a little power left unspent. Evolution is sitting right there waiting. That leftover spark might mean he can evolve whenever he needs to. Chrome files the thought away while Shelley and the others compare their own level ups. She hit 28. Even the little one gained ground. They still have the top floor to subdue and a report to deliver on the surface. For one quiet stretch, it almost feels like a normal party wrapping up a successful dive. Almost. Then the air turns wrong. Chrome senses it a second before the strike lands. A brutal blast of red force tears through the chamber, and the celebration is over just like that. Shelley is down. Chrome's voice cracks on her name while the attackers step into view. They were never alone in this dungeon. Evil dragons have been nesting here the whole time. The man in front of them is no random monster. He is tied to the boss of the evil dragons, and he looks at Chrome and the girls like prey that wandered into the wrong story. His reign, he claims, is nowhere near finished. Shelley fires back that they are the adventurers who just cleared this place. The man only laughs. He tells them they understand nothing, that even clearing dungeons means nothing if the people above already decided the outcome. Then he starts talking about what really happened to the people left behind, the cruelty, the way the women were used in front of their own comrades. Every word is another match tossed onto the fire inside Chrome. Chrome's voice drops into pure ice. How despicable. The man does not even flinch. He admits they never planned on leaving survivors and that nothing can be done until there is no one left to remember. The villain smirks and tells Chrome he will have that rage for nothing. Shelley can only whisper that this cannot be real. But look at Chrome's eyes. The undead who clawed his way back is done listening, and whatever comes next is going to rewrite the rest of this dungeon. The dungeon is still crawling with trouble, and word is out that anyone who can put these monsters down will walk away with a serious reward. Chrome's former circle is already on edge, watching the shadows like the walls themselves might turn on them. Chrome stands alone in the dark, already running on fumes. He knows pure stamina will not carry him through another round down here. Something else is going to have to tip the scale. A status window flares open. Species, shapeshifter. The numbers are climbing, and Chrome can feel the next form waiting just under his skin. Whatever he is becoming, it is not finished with him yet. He forces himself upright while the people around him keep talking like this is still a normal raid. Chrome is already somewhere else in his head, replaying every reason he should have walked away a long time ago. Old memories hit hard. Shelley's voice, the easy smiles, the way the party used to look at him before they decided he was expendable. He tells himself he should stop clinging to any of it. A grim figure with a scythe flashes through his mind, and the truth lands again. He already had his life ended once. Giving up now would just mean letting the people who threw him away win a second time. Chrome steadies himself. In a spot this hopeless, folding is the one thing he refuses to do. Shelley's name slips out of someone nearby, and the whole fight tilts towards something personal. Blades come out, Chrome meets the rush head on, smashing straight through the first wave while his opponents still think they are dealing with an ordinary adventurer. They have no idea how wrong that is. One fighter after another piles on, shouting about parties, dragons, and payback. Chrome just keeps moving. Every swing proves the same point. The man they left behind is not playing by living rules anymore. Green light explodes across the chamber as reinforcements jump in. Chrome answers with raw force, tearing through the assault while the dungeon itself seems to shake around him. The fight gets brutal fast. Someone yells at him not to go down yet because they still need him as bait for the monsters. Chrome's body should be finished. Instead, he digs in deeper, and the people swinging at him start to panic. From a distance, Shelley watches the whole mess unfold, unease written all over her face. She knows Chrome's strength better than most, and whatever she is sensing now does not feel like the man she remembers. Chrome's thoughts drift back to the day he found the courage to leave the dungeon behind, and to the fool who trusted the wrong party too easily. That soft version of him is gone. What remains is done hesitating. No more playing around. Chrome looks his opponent gone in the eye, calls on Masquerade, and releases everything he has been holding back. The chamber lights up as the real monster finally steps forward. The clash is over in seconds. Red Kool-Aid hits the floor, the system chimes with a fat chunk of XP, and Chrome stands over what is left while the survivors freeze in place. One word slips out of them: monster. Chrome stares at his own hands and feels the truth settle in. Taking someone out felt natural. Maybe that is what happens when you stop being human. Maybe that is what happens when you become the thing the dungeon feared. The others finally catch on and scream that an undead monster is standing right there. Shelley pushes through the panic, voice cracking as she says his name. Chrome only lowers his head and asks her to forgive the lie. Even if she was wrong about him, Chrome is done running from what he is. That stitched smile turns toward the remaining threats, and he makes one promise that freezes the whole chamber. He will stop these guys himself. The dungeon air is thick, and the party thinks the fight is almost over. One more push, and the nightmare in front of them should finally go down. They have no idea what they are actually staring at. Orders fly, finish it, hurry, but the undead just stands there, calm as a grave, while their weapons glance off like they are swinging at smoke. Someone already wants to run. The redhead charges anyway, steel out, no hesitation. Our boy watches every angle, every opening, and quietly admits the truth to himself. One clean hit, and even he is finished. A blue window flares, species shapeshifter, level 45 of 50. He is stronger than he ever was in a living body, but four trained adventurers at once is still a the end sentence if he plays this wrong. So he stops thinking about surviving and starts thinking about ending it in one move. He needs an opening. He is going to make one. The hammer comes down hard. The fighter is furious that a single monster already dropped three of their people. Our undead just smiles under the stitches and lets the rage do the work for him. Purple light detonates. The counter is brutal and sudden. Someone leaves themselves wide open, and the undead does not waste the invitation. The fight turns ugly in a heartbeat. Green magic tries to pin him. The redhead eats a blast of red Kool-Aid for the effort. When the dust settles, he is the only one still standing over the fallen, and the system starts singing. 424 experience, another 388. Level 47 becomes 48 right in front of their eyes. The party finally understands the real horror. The longer this goes, the stronger he gets. Panic sets in. This is bad. They cannot leave it to the small fry anymore. The long haired mage and the redhead slam a glowing formation into the ground while the big guy steps up to buy time. Magic circles flare. The undead crashes straight through the light anyway, green power screaming off his blade. Someone's spell work gets in the way, and all they can do is swear. Up close, his stitched face is pure nightmare fuel. They still cannot sense him properly. He is at his limit and he knows it, so he does the only thing left. He goes all in. Another fighter drops. More experience floods in. Green slashes carve the dark while the survivors scream at each other not to falter. Then the fire mage decides enough is enough. A massive fireball builds. Someone yells not to shoot. Too late. The blast swallows the corridor in a wall of flame, and for a second, it looks like the undead might finally be gone. He walks out of the fire, 858 experience. The next fighter never even gets the finishing blow off. Green light answers, red Kool-Aid flies, and another 674 experience hits the board. The survivors are breaking. He keeps getting stronger the more they throw at him. Balrog is already done. In the quiet that follows, the undead stands alone and wonders just how far this power can climb. Then he says the name out loud. They call him the Monster of Doomvale, level 48, shapeshifter, and he is ready to find out which of them is the real monster. Red power erupts around him like a second skin. The test is on. Whatever is coming next, the people who left him behind are about to learn exactly what they created. Two monsters finally lock eyes in the dark. Balrog Gefhart, the so-called Monster of Doomfield, claims the title out loud. Our undead hero answers without flinching. Let's see which of them is the real one. Balrog answers with that enormous axe. The first swing splits the air and the whole dungeon feels it. This is not a sparring match. This is a statement. The fight turns savage in seconds. Blows land hard enough to rattle bone. Our hero is already on the back foot, dodging red arcs of pure force while Balrog keeps coming. A clean hit sends the undead sliding through the dust. He is still standing, still thinking, but the gap in raw power is obvious. Balrog Gephardt, level 50, is built like a walking disaster. Inside his head, the math is brutal. He has no clean path to victory right now. Every second he stays is another chance for this place to finish what his old party started. His body is already failing him. Mana bottoms out. One more exchange like that, and there will be nothing left to regenerate. He needs an exit or a miracle. Balrog smells the weakness and laughs. He calls our hero half the monster he expected. That mockery is the only opening the undead needs. He lunges straight for the face. The counter lands. For one heartbeat, it looks like the tide might turn. Then Balrog's flesh knits itself back together like nothing happened. He can regenerate too. Balrog decides the warm-up is over. Purple crystal erupts across his arm and body. The skill name flashes. Purple crystallization. The real fight has only just started. Crystal armor, crystal power, crystal arrogance. Balrog flexes the new form and asks how our hero likes it. The undead is still standing, but the gap just got wider. Somewhere under all that crystal is a man who was never gentle. We drop into Balrog's past, a hopeless childhood, a mother trying to shield him, and the first day his skill answered with pure violence. That same fury is what stands in front of our hero now. The undead's arm is ruined, skills are failing. The status screen looks like a "the end" sentence written in blue light. This might actually be the end. Except he refuses the ending. There is still one path left. Green light flares as he moves, weaving through the next barrage with nothing but grit and whatever power he has left. A swordswoman charges in, screaming for her boss to finish it. She never gets the chance. One clean exchange later, she is down, and the undead drinks in a flood of experience. Level 40 becomes level 50 in a single breath. The evolution condition lights up. Shapeshifter has hit its ceiling. Something new is waiting on the other side. He thinks of Shell. He needs more power to reach her, to pull her out of this nightmare. He will take any curse, any price, as long as the power comes with it. Blue light swallows the chamber. The aura that pours off him is nothing like before. Balrog feels it and freezes. The system delivers the verdict. Evolved into a doppelganger. The monster they created just became something worse. Chapter 35 opens on pure transformation. The betrayed adventurer finishes evolving, and what rises out of that blue storm is no ordinary undead anymore. He has become a doppelganger. This form is built for terror. It steals faces, memories, entire identities, and nobody ever sees the real shape underneath. The skill set that comes with it is absolutely nasty. Regeneration, Masquerade, Phantom, and Dream Eater. Across from him stands a scarred, bearded warrior who still thinks this is a normal fight. He snarls, swings, and tries to end it the old-fashioned way. He has no idea what just walked into the room. The warrior lunges with everything he has, screaming for the finish. Gaird's new body just absorbs the pressure and answers with cold, precise counterstrikes that light up the dark. Then the real trick activates. Dream Eater. Gaird's hands glow and he starts draining the warrior's own dream energy right out of him mid-fight. Every hit the man lands just feeds the monster in front of him. The warrior roars and tries to force out his prime crimson power. Garrett simply triggers regeneration, watches his own health climb back up, and calmly explains he can keep stealing more energy forever. That is the moment the dread really sinks in. Garrett stands there, antlers glowing, and admits he could keep this fight going forever. The warrior finally understands he is not facing anything human. Backup arrives. A dark-haired mage and a young swordsman rush in, screaming at the warrior to stop spacing out and finish the monster. They still think numbers will matter. The mage pours everything into a huge spell circle. The blast hits and does nothing. Garrett's voice cuts through the smoke. It is no use. Then he activates Phantom. Phantom lets him wrap the entire battlefield in illusions. The mage actually believes she won for one beautiful second. She celebrates. Then the real Garrett is still standing right there, completely untouched. Purple hands clamp around the warrior. The whole party freezes in pure disbelief. Garrett has been toying with them the entire time, and now the mask is coming off. A glowing orb forms in his grip. He calls it their final gambit, then introduces himself properly. He is the monster of despair. The title lands like a hammer. He pushes the doppelganger form even further. Multiple glowing eyes open across his body as Phantom flares again. The warrior takes the full force of it and the fight turns completely one-sided. The illusions get personal. A child's voice asks if that is his daddy. Another vision of a mother from the past. Gerd is ripping straight into their deepest memories and using them as weapons. Through the chaos, the truth slips out. This is Garrett, not the same man they once knew. He has come back from the abyss stronger, colder, and ready to settle every account. His fist crashes forward like judgment. The focus shifts to a terrified young man named Gallard. Garrett's voice drops low and vicious as he greets him by name. He promises that pieces of trash like him get their limbs torn off and fed to the dogs. Gallard's strength vanishes. His skills refuse to answer. He can only scream for Garrett to stay away while the antlered shadow closes in, red energy building for something truly ugly. The final assault lands hard, and the screen fills with red Kool-Aid and pure panic. Gallard is completely broken, and Garrett is just getting started. Whatever debt this kid owes, it is about to be collected in full. The dungeon finally goes quiet, and Chrome feels it hit him all at once. Power tears through his undead body as the system lights up, level 50 to 51, and a massive haul of experience to match. Two brand new skills unlock in the glow, Transition and Dream Eater. Chrome flexes the energy around his claws and just stares. It feels so powerful he can barely keep it contained. Dream Eater is the real prize. Touch someone, devour their memories, and steal their mana like it was never theirs. Transition lets him share vital force and bend people to his will. Chrome already knows exactly how dangerous this makes him. He turns that power on the dark-haired woman who came for him. She thought she could handle an undead. Chrome decides to give her a demonstration she will never forget, and the blast that follows is pure blue force. He screams and scrambles back. The rest of the dungeon trash scatters into the dark. The source of the monster plague is finished, and the rose of this place is gone with it. Outside, the survivors finally breathe. With their leader gone, the remaining threats fall apart. Ordinary people and little kids get to walk away free, like the nightmare never touched them. Chrome stands alone in the aftermath, and one name cuts through the quiet: Shelley. He wonders what her path looks like now that the dungeon has spit them both back out. He finds her soon enough, hurt and barely holding on. The fight clearly took a brutal bite out of her. Chrome tells himself he has already paid enough debts for one lifetime, and the darkness is no place to linger. Part of him hopes seeing the monster up close was the right call. If she only ever heard the stories, she might have twisted him into something worse in her head. Facing the truth with her own eyes had to be better, right? Doubt still claws at him. Maybe running back into the dark forever would be cleaner. He is a monster now, already gone from the world of the living. Yet the stubborn human piece inside refuses to stay buried. He steps closer anyway. Shelley stirs, winces, and the first word out of both of them is an apology. Chrome steadies her while the weight of everything he has become hangs between them. She looks wrecked but unbroken. Chrome tells her to look at herself, this undead girl who still refuses to stay down. Whatever comes next, neither of them is finished yet. Shelley's heart is hammering. She knows one thing with absolute certainty: Chrome is still a good soul under all the bone and shadow. He came from the monster side of the world and still chose to walk back into the light for her. She does not want to be left alone again. Chrome saved her once already and dragged her out of this dungeon when he could have vanished forever. Shelley swears she will do everything in her power to keep him in town, even if he cannot stay. The shout costs her. She sways, dizzy just from pouring that much feeling out. Chrome steadies her while she mumbles that she is only a little tired. Sorry is the last soft word before the quiet returns. He cannot understand why she worries so hard about a creature like him. She stood up just to say those words. All Chrome can offer back is a quiet thanks, Shelley, while the guilt starts twisting deeper. Her kindness feels almost too pure. Chrome starts thinking it might be safer for her if she never sees him again. A girl like that does not deserve the trouble an undead brings. And then the new skill whispers the worst temptation of all. Dream Eater would let him grow stronger anytime he wanted just by taking one touch, and her mana could be his. Chrome stares at his own hand and wonders how long he can keep from becoming the exact monster everyone already fears. While somewhere in the past, Shelley is still searching for the white-haired man who vanished. The capital finally goes quiet. After the fall of Destiny, the streets stop shaking and people start breathing like the worst is actually behind them. You can hear it in every conversation. Nobody wants to live another day flinching at monsters. For the first time in a long stretch, the city sounds almost human again. Peace crawls back into the capital like it never left. After so much chaos, even the ordinary streets feel like a victory lap. Adventurers waste no time cashing in on the calm. Skill books change hands, new power gets measured, and everyone acts like the grind is finally paying out. But the good mood has an edge. Word spreads about the Isle of Forgotten Heroes, and that dungeon is not done making people nervous. Monsters do not clock out because the capital wants a parade. Somewhere past the lantern light, something colder is already watching the celebration. Cut to a packed tavern. Mugs slam, voices rise, and one name keeps cutting through the noise like a blade: Churchyard. A blonde adventurer is not here to party. She wants answers. Just where did that hooded stranger vanish to when the whole mess went sideways? The hooded figure sits alone with a drink, staring at a warning poster. That face on the wall is the one the city still brands a monster. She finally calls him out across the room. One spilled drink later, and the quiet shatters. He is done being cornered by curious eyes. Phantom flares to life. Blue light rips over his form as he peels out of the tavern before anyone gets a clean look at what he really is. Because he cannot keep walking these streets with the face people already fear. Not if he wants to move freely. Not if he wants to finish what they started. Then the real power-up lands. Doppelganger unlocks. A whole new species line, a whole new way to wear another skin and vanish into the crowd. He takes the form of Delea, steadies himself, and sets his course. Home, Ronstadt, the place he is finally strong enough to return to. Meanwhile, far from the tavern noise, two men sit in a crimson chamber like they already own the board. They are not toasting peace, they are measuring power. They talk about the one who stopped being human and became something closer to the devil. Power like that does not stay buried, and they have zero intention of leaving it alone. Maps hit the table, routes get traced. Ronstadt sits right in the middle of their plan, and every word makes the net around that town pull tighter. One of them smiles like the hunt is already won. He is looking forward to it. Our undead hero is heading home, and so is everything that wants him finished for good. Night falls over the wilds, and our betrayed adventurer is done hiding. Under a thin crescent moon, he rolls his shoulders, already sizing up the perfect target to break in his newest gifts. A massive white wolf answers the challenge, green eyes blazing. The system flares. Third Eye climbs another notch, level up, exactly what he needed. He does not waste the moment. Blue power rips outward, the wolf lunges, and the whole clearing turns into a brutal clash of fang and raw undead force. Then the real skill drops. He seizes the beast, a purple eye blooms open, and the screen screams the name that changes everything: Soul Eater. The wolf howls as its essence is ripped free. Memories flood in. Experience pours straight into him. This is no ordinary finish. This is consumption. When the red Kool-Aid settles, the wolf is gone and the system hands him the spoils. 3 EXP, third eye secured, 6 red marks still left on the board. He is keeping score. He stands over the aftermath and almost smiles. A solid night's work, new power locked in, and somewhere far away, the people who threw him away still think they are safe. By the campfire, the truth settles in his bones. He is close now. Revenge is no longer a dream, it is a direction, and he is already walking it. Cut to the living. In a quiet tavern, the old party is cracking. The red-haired one cannot sit still. Rumors are spreading. Someone is talking about the brother they left behind in that dungeon. The blonde tries to keep it light. The dark-haired woman stares into nothing, whispering that she cannot even remember who she used to be. Guilt is eating them alive from the inside. Then the red-haired traitor snaps. Cup smashed, table slammed. He screams it was not his fault, that the weakling brought it on himself, that he is no monster. Nobody at that table believes him, least of all himself. While they tear each other apart over old sins, something far worse is already moving. Deep in a dungeon, a new name lights up the system: Dungeon Boss Fenrir. The black wolf god roars, but a silver-haired girl in purple simply sighs. Bad manners. She is not here to struggle. She is here on business for her master. One glowing orb, one calm declaration. She is the maid of his master, and Fenrir is about to learn what that title actually means. The beast never stood a chance. She finishes the job with a smile that could freeze red Kool-Aid, then turns toward Rockdat like the whole dungeon was just an errand. Her master is a genius, she says, and the hero is already terrifyingly strong. Two hooded figures step into the purple mist of the city streets. The undead adventurer is done training in the dark. The people who abandoned him are about to feel the ground shift under their feet. Night settles over the quiet streets, and our undead adventurer is finally back somewhere that should feel like home. But the loneliness hits hard. He has been gone too long, and the world of living adventurers keeps turning without him. He keeps to the shadows while ordinary people pass by, completely unaware of what is watching them. One glance from a stranger is enough to put him on edge. Staying unseen is still the safest play. Meanwhile, inside a quiet room, a determined young woman named Kalmia pours everything into her magic studies. She flips through her book, focuses hard, and summons a brilliant ice familiar that answers her call. Outside the window, he watches every spell. Her magic ability is climbing fast, and the sight of her working so hard stirs something complicated in him. He came all this way, yet he still does not know what to do now that he is here. He tells himself that simply knowing she is safe might be enough. Kalmia is passionate about magic, pouring her whole heart into every page. For a moment, he almost convinces himself to stay a silent guardian forever. Then she senses something. Kalmia grabs her blade, eyes sharp, ready for whatever threat just entered her space. She is not some helpless kid. She is ready to fight for the people she loves. That is when he steps out of the dark and calls her name, Kalmia. The shock hits her like a wave. She cannot believe what she is seeing. The brother she thought was gone forever is standing right there. The reunion is messy and raw. She wants answers. Why does he look so different? Why did he hide? Why does everything about him feel wrong and right at the same time? He can only lower his head and admit she is right to be upset. Old memories surface. He remembers the person he used to be, the promises he made, and how far he has fallen from that ideal. Kalmia is not ready to let him vanish again, but he already knows he cannot stay. He finally tells her the truth he has been carrying. He is human no longer. He is undead now, and something even heavier happened after he was left behind. Evolution is pulling him toward a form that is more monster than man, and he has to keep climbing. Power is the only path left. He remembers the childhood vow he made at his parents' resting place, the dream of becoming a hero strong enough to protect everyone he loves. That dream did not end when his life did, it only changed shape. He softens just long enough to promise he will return once he is strong enough. Then he walks out the door. Kalmia chases after him, shouting for her idiot brother, but by the time she reaches the street, he is already gone. She stands alone in the night, frustrated and worried sick. All she wanted was for him to stop pushing her away. Meanwhile, he moves through the dark streets, quietly glad they met again, hoping she will finally stay out of dangerous dungeons. His quiet moment does not last. A rough voice snaps him out of his thoughts. Someone has recognized him. The red haired fighter staring him down cannot believe what he is seeing. Arthur. The name hits the air like a thrown blade. This is Chrome, and he is furious. He thought Arthur was finished for good. Instead, the betrayed adventurer is standing right in front of him, changed and very much back. Far across the region, alarms scream to life at Rockcat's southern watchtower. A breathing nest of monsters has been spotted, and the night sky is about to turn into a catastrophe. Whatever calm Arthur just left behind is already shattering. Right into the fire. A capable adventurer named Kevin Kiros is trading blows in a hallway that should never have seen this kind of chaos, and the enemy across from him is not playing by any normal rules. White hair, red cloak, a scythe that carves the air itself. Every exchange drives Kevin further onto the back foot, and the pressure only climbs from there. Then she steps into frame. Purple hair, calm smile, the kind of presence that makes the whole room feel smaller. She calls the situation mean, almost amused that a high ranking adventurer would ever sink this low. Kevin feels the gap in every parry. His own level flashes clear. Kevin Kiros, level 24, and the cold truth lands hard. She is operating on a completely different tier. Monsters are already spilling through the streets. Kevin's thoughts race ahead of the blades. If he cannot get a warning out, a whole lot of ordinary people are about to be finished. And then the worst realization of all. She is the one who brought the monsters here. The shock hits him like a second opponent. That should have been impossible. A pink haired archer looses shot after shot into the mess, but the tide does not turn. Kevin steels himself anyway. He was going to stop her regardless. Real protectors do not leave people behind. The fight turns savage. Kevin pours everything into one last stand, yet she is simply too fast, too sharp. Red light rips across the corridor, and his window to win slams shut. Kevin hits the floor. The white haired figure stands over him with that scythe, like the argument is already settled. The purple haired woman only smiles and calls the whole thing fun. She talks about responsibility like they share the same burden. Kevin glares up, certain she is the darkness behind every monster in the streets. Then the next strike lands deep enough to reach bone. Red Kool-Aid hits the stones. Kevin can barely stay conscious. He refuses to let this be game over. And then the impossible happens. She starts healing the very man she just dropped. An enemy knitting him back together. Kevin cannot make sense of it. All he knows is he still cannot go down, not until every person in town has been warned. That duty is the only thing left holding him up. His strength finally runs out. Light pools around his fallen form as the last words leave him. Protect the town, protect everyone. The mysterious pair simply walk away and leave him there. Cut elsewhere. A sharp tongued chef corners a blue haired man named Arthur and demands answers. Arthur is supposed to be sealed behind the dungeon bulkhead, so how is he standing here in one piece? Arthur's mind drags him backward. The betrayal, the dungeon, the certainty that nobody left behind in that place could ever walk out again. Even if the abandoned adventurer somehow revived, escape alone should have been pure fantasy. Then the revived adventurer is simply there. Red hair, hollow eyes, weapon already drawn. Accusations fly that he came back as a monster. Arthur feels the wrongness rolling off him in waves, and the next move will decide whether anyone walks away from this reunion. The red haired swordsman is not holding back. He comes in swinging hard, screaming that Chrome should not get cocky just because he came back as something other than human. He spits the old insult right in his face: shitty, skill-less, useless porter. Steel flashes and the air turns red with heat. This guy really believes the old hierarchy still applies. He has no idea the person standing across from him is no longer bound by anything a living adventurer understands. Chrome's mind is cold and clear. He was never some soft target they could shove around for convenience. They left him behind for a reason, and that reason is about to become their problem. The rage hits different now. This fight is not even on the same level as before. Chrome's expression twists as the old humiliation and the new power slam together at once. Then Chrome moves, a blue arc cuts the air, and the red haired swordsman is already on the back foot. Speed, power, timing, none of it looks human anymore. Chrome's internal verdict is brutal. Of everyone who turned on him, this one might be the worst. The gap in ability is so wide it almost feels insulting. The swordsman cannot keep up. Every swing is late, every step is wrong. Chrome is already past him before the attack even finishes, and the panic starts to show. It turns into a complete stomp. Chrome drives him back, blue light flashing, until the red haired fighter is gasping on pure instinct and pure fear. When the dust settles, the difference in strength is undeniable. Chrome stands over him and quietly notes he could have ended this, even while still wearing a human shape. The old porter is gone. Something far worse took his place. Chrome turns to leave. He has no interest in dragging this out, but the red haired swordsman refuses to stay down. Flame cloak ignites around his blade, and he screams that his fire will erase Chrome completely. The flaming sword comes down like a judgment. Chrome does not even flinch. He slips the attack, answers with raw force, and puts the swordsman on the ground again with a boot on his chest. The fight was never close. Chrome tries one last time to talk sense. He says if he had wanted a real reunion, he would have been honest about it. The swordsman only snarls that Chrome is tricking him, using him. Chrome decides the conversation is finished. Then the night itself screams. A deep roar rolls over the town and the streets erupt in panic. Soldiers shout the only words that matter: monsters have invaded. The entire settlement just became a battlefield. The red haired swordsman immediately points the finger at Chrome. He is convinced the undead led the horde here on purpose. Chrome has heard enough. One clean strike and the man is out cold. No more accusations, no more noise. Chaos spreads fast. Townsfolk and adventurers start blaming Chrome for summoning the monsters. A desperate plea cuts through the noise, someone begging for help, while Chrome just mutters that this is becoming a real pain. Then the truth steps forward wearing a smile. A blonde woman in a red cape calmly admits she is the one who brought the monsters into town. She wanted people with rare skills, and Chrome just walked straight into her stage. Pink energy tears through the street as another player reveals herself. A purple haired girl with a predator's grin talks about tasty souls and the abyss like the whole town is just a buffet. Chrome has her gone to rights and he is done playing along. He pins her with a look that could freeze fire and delivers the only line that matters now. She is going to tell him everything: every plan, every name, every reason this town is burning. And she is going to do it before the night gets any worse. The clash is already ugly when we pick back up. Our undead hero is face to face with a pink haired powerhouse who makes it clear she has zero time to waste and she is not here to talk it out. She comes in swinging with raw force, and the red haired guy on the ground can barely process what just happened. He keeps asking why anyone would bother pretending to shield him in a mess this deep. Panic sets in hard. He is convinced someone already got finished in this spot, and the only thing on his mind is bolting before the whole floor turns into another bloodbath he cannot outrun. A voice cuts through the haze calling for Cheche, but the real threat is already locked in. That pink haired woman is first priority: fast, strong, and ridiculously hard to pin down. Word is she leads something nasty and sits around level 50, stronger than the last nightmare that nearly ended our hero for good. This is not a warm up fight. Blades and magic tear across the floor. She shrugs off a heavy hit like it was nothing, then coolly notes he is better than expected while he realizes the wound he landed came in too low to matter. He needs her down fast so he can peel off and help with the monsters. Then the worst possible thing happens. She triggers healing, and suddenly the fight resets in her favor. She is smiling now, almost done with whatever dark work she came for, and she still has a special healing spell ready. Both of them are running on fumes, but she is calculating every trade. He cannot afford to lose this round. One wrong reveal and everything slips, so he reaches for something uglier than a normal blade, Soul Eater. She mocks the basic tricks he throws next, paralysis included, like she has seen it all before. Then the tone flips, his hand finds her, and she realizes too late what he was really after. Dream Eater lands. Suddenly, he is inside her head, walking through a mental realm that should have been locked tight. Arthur was never supposed to witness any of this from the outside. The memories are not a dungeon or an open field. They are personal, fractured, and heavy. He watches her past unravel, the choices she made, the things she tried to force into existence no matter the cost. A child, a creature, a moment where she tried so hard to give it two heads. The mental strain hits her like a hammer, and her grip on the real fight starts to crack. Reality and memory bleed together until her head is pure agony. She has never been afraid of anything, yet she never imagined someone this empty of feeling could still be standing in front of her. She has no idea what he just did to her, but the counterattack comes anyway. The fight turns vicious again, red Kool-Aid flying, neither side willing to give the floor. One final exchange leaves him reeling. She stands over the moment like she already owns it, eyes cold, power crackling, and delivers the line that freezes the whole chapter. The chapter drops us straight into a losing fight. Purple energy rips through the dark, and whoever is on the receiving end is getting pushed harder than they can handle. The woman with the scythe and the cold pink eyes already knows how this ends. She stands over the battlefield like the decision has already been made. On the other side, panic is setting in, doppelganger tricks are failing. She is simply better, and the only name that keeps coming up as a real answer is Arthur. But calling Arthur in carries its own nightmare. If he shows his true face, the whole town learns there is a monster walking among them. Chaos either way. Meanwhile, the red haired fighter is already writing Arthur off. If Arthur goes down here, fine. The revenge he came for gets settled without anyone else lifting a finger. The scythe woman keeps pressing. Someone on the ground is one bad moment away from being finished. Flame Cloak ignites in a last desperate burst of heat and light. It is not enough. The scythe finds its mark. Arthur is down hard, and the woman is already walking toward him to end the fight for good. She raises the blade and makes the promise out loud. She will take Arthur out first. An ally watches in horror, frozen between running in and staying alive. The scythe comes down, red Kool-Aid hits the stone, and then something that was never part of her plan steps out of the dark. A grinning, undead mask, glowing eyes. This is not one of the monsters she led here. This is something else entirely, and it just entered the fight. She recognizes the truth too late. That man, the one who should have stayed gone. Arthur did not stay finished. He came back wrong, and now the scythe has a real problem. The undead moves like nothing human. Faster, stronger. Every swing of that scythe gets answered with raw force that should not exist in a living body. She feels it, the gap. He is more agile than any person she has ever faced. Creepy, wrong, and far too strong. Her whole worldview starts cracking in real time. She unlocks everything she has left: immortal demon, white magic, power she clawed out of nothing so she would never be weak again. She refuses to lose to a monster. Arthur answers by turning the fight into a nightmare. He catches her, drains the air from her lungs, uses his own unnatural endurance to grind her down piece by piece. She is smiling through the pain now, delighted. He is the first one who ever made her feel this, and she decides right there that the fight ends on her terms. Arthur gathers a massive surge of power, eyes locked, ready to finish what she started. The whole dungeon is about to learn what happens when you leave a betrayed adventurer for the monsters. The dungeon lights up like a storm. Our undead adventurer is locked in a brutal clash with a mana-soaked opponent who refuses to stay down. Blue energy ripping through the dark as she screams that she will never give up. She throws the claim right in his face. As long as she still has mana, she is immortal. That is the kind of arrogance that gets people finished in places like this. But the antlered undead standing across from her is not some mindless beast. He is a monster that does not exist only to be impaled, one that even helps humans, and that fact alone has her rattled. She cannot stand what he is. Disgust twists her face as she calls him a filthy creature and lunges, pink hair whipping through the red glow while she demands to know why something like him would ever side with humanity. The fight turns vicious fast. Blades of blue force slam together, the two of them tearing through the chamber, and every exchange makes it clearer she still does not understand what immortal actually means when the other side already came back once. He answers with overwhelming force. A glowing strike rips across the space. Red Kool-Aid sprays, and her body is driven hard into the stone while that antlered silhouette keeps pressing the attack without mercy. She hits the ground hard. For a moment, the chamber goes quiet except for her ragged breathing, and the undead simply stands over what is left of her confidence. Pride flares one last time. She snarls that he let his guard down and swears she will at least drag him down with her, lunging with everything she has left in a final desperate rush. It is not enough. The clash ends in a blur of motion and light, and when the dust settles, she is the one who has been put down for good while he remains standing, cold and unbroken. Her last words drip with pity and venom. She tells him nobody will ever love a creature like him, that if only he threw away his reason, he could live as a real monster, and that no matter how hard he tries to play nice with humans, it will never matter. He does not argue. Power floods into him instead, the chamber shaking as he claims everything she had left, and the system answers with a clean reward over 5,000 experience and a climb from level 51 straight to 53. Elsewhere, the past comes clawing back. Red haired Arthur stares down a familiar nightmare and spits the truth he has been denying. He always knew this thing was a monster, and he is convinced it came back just to finish him. Then the phantom takes hold. A glowing eye opens in the dark. Arthur's world tilts, and pure terror rips out of him as he screams for someone, anyone, to save him from what is standing in front of him. While that horror plays out, a new skill name burns across the dark: Dream Eater. Twisted shapes pour into the corridor, imps and worse, and a battered party realizes far too late that something far stronger than a normal dungeon threat has arrived. Back in the quiet world above, Arthur surfaces from the nightmare gasping. A woman holds him steady while he tries to understand where he is, whether any of it was real, and why the edges of his memory feel scrubbed clean. Soft voices fill in the gaps he cannot reach. Someone erased every memory of the one who hurt him, insisting it was kindness, while another quietly admits the truth. That man might still be out there, and he has grown frighteningly strong. Arthur forces himself upright anyway, bloodied but stubborn, swearing he only needs to apologize and make things right. In the shadows, a hooded figure turns away with a simple goodbye, leaving Arthur alone with the weight of everything he still does not remember. The city is under siege. Packs of glowing eyed wolves pour through the streets, howling loud enough to rattle every window, and the defenders are already getting overrun. Orders fly fast. There are simply too many of them, so the call goes out to evacuate the women and children to the southern half of the city before the whole place collapses. Then the real nightmare steps into view. A massive crimson beast erupts with a roar that paints the sky purple, and every fighter on the wall instantly knows what they are looking at. That is the boss of the labyrinth. The moment it fully enters the city, the population is finished. One knight stares it down and mutters that this might be the end of knighthood itself. A lone defender still plants his feet. Fine, come at me, he shouts. At least he will go down protecting his hometown. The pack answers with another wave of howls. That is when a new figure cuts through the chaos. White hair, dark cloak, blade already drawn. Chrome has arrived, and the wolves do not get a second chance to react. One clean slash and the first wolf is down. Experience ticks up. Another pack rushes him and he simply keeps moving, blue light trailing every swing like the fight is already decided. Come at me, all of you, he tells the remaining beasts. He is happy to fight anyone causing trouble in this city, and the system keeps feeding him more experience with every takedown. The fight gets brutal fast. Chrome blurs through the pack, regeneration flaring, Dream Eater activating, every skill stacking while the wolves crumple one after another under that cold blue steel. As long as he has regeneration and Dream Eater running, he will never get tired no matter how many opponents he has to face. The street is his now. Civilians start cheering. An amazing adventurer came to their rescue. Follow him, protect the city. Then one of them freezes. Wait, that man, is that not Chrome? How did he survive? Chrome and black hair. The recognition spreads. Whatever happened to him down there, the man standing in front of them now is something else entirely, and the city just got its strongest shield. They might actually put a stop to this without any more casualties. For one brief moment, it feels like the nightmare is under control. Then the real disaster boss arrives. A colossal black Fenrir erupts in a storm of red light, jaws wide, eyes burning. This is the dungeon disaster boss, and the entire street goes silent under its roar. People beg him not to go alone. No matter how strong he is, that is reckless. Chrome does not even slow down. He can take that thing by himself. The system window lights up. Dungeon boss, species Fenrir, level 46, rank C. Chrome sizes it up, calm as ever, already calculating the gap between them. He raises his blade. I will put an end to you at once, Fenrir. The undead adventurer who should never have come back is about to show a dungeon boss exactly why betrayal was the worst mistake anyone ever made. Out on the edge of town, the locals can only stare. One lone figure is taking on an entire pack of monsters by himself, and he is making the whole thing look effortless. Red eyes bloom in the dark. A pack of massive wolves circles him, growling low, ready to tear him apart. He does not flinch. Green light flares across his body. Regeneration kicks in hard, knitting every scrape before it can slow him down. The skill window lights up like a promise. Then the real work begins. Blue energy rips through the night as he carves into the pack. The fight gets brutal fast, and the wolves never stand a chance. He almost sounds bored. His level sits far above theirs, and regeneration means nothing they do can stick. Against trash like this, the skill is basically useless. One wolf breaks the line and charges straight at the bystanders. Panic hits hard. They scramble, realizing the fight is about to spill right on top of them. Chains explode out of thin air and slam the beast to the ground. The wolf thrashes, eyes wide, suddenly realizing it is completely locked down. Then he calls something new. A towering blue phantom rips into existence beside him, all bone and cold light, pure nightmare given form. The phantom does not hold back. It tears through the remaining wolves in a blur of pink and blue. Red Kool-Aid hits the ground. The pack is finished. The system chimes. 2600 XP. Level 53 becomes 54. The Watchers can barely speak. He really cleared the entire pack alone. He stands over the fallen boss and feels it in his bones. Something bigger is coming. Then a blonde woman steps from the dark with a knowing smile and calmly admits she is the one who led those monsters here. Back in the streets, the work is not done. Monsters still roam every corner. The locals split up to clean house, grateful their hometown is still standing because of him. But inside his head, a darker current is rising. He keeps thinking about a priestess, a strange attraction, and underneath it, pure anger he cannot explain. He finds the source, a glowing pink orb pulsing on the ground, soaked in that same impossible pull. This dream feels too real. Even a phantom seems drawn to whatever this thing is. He does not understand it. He only knows he cannot leave it behind. Whatever this orb is, it is coming with him. Then the past crashes in. A younger version of him kneels in front of a crying girl with blue hair, promising he will become a hero strong enough to protect her. Do not cry, Kalmia. He swears he will come back. She calls him her stupid brother and tells him to hurry home. That promise was broken once. Now the thing that rose in his place is finally strong enough to keep it. Rayburg, the capital. On the surface, it looks calm enough, but the streets are buzzing with the kind of fear that does not stay quiet for long. Something brutal hit a warehouse, and the survivors are already whispering one name under their breath. Witnesses insist this was no ordinary monster raid. People were finished off in ways that feel personal, deliberate. And right in the middle of the panic, someone drops a dangerous question about the claws of Devon. The city guard is stretched thin, and the only lead anyone cares about is the so-called Red Man. Has he been found yet? The answer is a hard no, and the tension in the room is thick enough to choke on. Then Captain Elaine walks in, cold, focused, the kind of knight who does not waste words when citizens are in danger. Her presence alone tells you this investigation just leveled up. The other captains are busy, the front lines are a mess, and Elaine shuts down reckless talk with one sharp warning. Excessive speculation will cut your life short. She is not here to gossip. She is here for answers. Behind closed doors, a trusted right hand gets the real briefing. One secret, one name, and a history lesson that reaches back 100 years into the capital's darkest scandal. The man behind that old catastrophe was Viscount Archon. Red hair, a red birthmark, the exact description of the figure everyone is hunting now. Are they saying the red man is him? Elaine can barely believe it. They have been chasing a ghost from 300 years ago, a court mage put through the worst punishment for burning an entire town. The records are thin, even the name is lost. But the details that survived are impossible to ignore: red hair, a mark on the face, and a holy scripture that speaks of a blessing strong enough to command disasters from before the world even took shape. 1,000 years ago, a god gave humanity its blessings so people could live free from the fear of monsters. The same texts warned that on the last day, an enormous disaster would be born out of chaos itself. Do not say it, do not even think it, but the old clergy already believe the red man is tied to that prophecy. Only the top of the country is allowed to know how bad this could get, and monster attacks are climbing year by year. Finding the red man is now the nation's top priority. The wanted poster goes up, and while the capital scrambles, the story cuts to someone who already has her own plans in motion. Asher Dono, the adventurer she wanted, dissolved and ran the second things got real. Her subordinates are smiling about magic stones and ruling the country right up until her patience snaps. The fist comes down hard. Red energy floods the room. Asher is furious. Garrett, her own daughter, was in charge of the dungeon operation, and there is no way that girl would turn on her. So, what went wrong down there? That dungeon should have been nothing major. Instead, something sensitive is stirring, something the knights might be hiding. Asher feels it in her bones. There is an irregular at work, and ignoring it would be a fatal mistake. She names the fear out loud: a monster from that other realm, a god that cursed this world. If that force is moving again, every careful plan she built is about to get rewritten in red Kool-Aid. So Asher makes her next move. Count Medici gets the polite smile and the research pitch. Funds are nice. Help identifying the people in Rayburg who just halted her subordinates is better. They shake on it. Far from the capital's schemes, a hooded figure walks under open sky with a glowing orb in hand. The red manhunt is on. Asher's net is tightening, and the one they should actually be afraid of is already on the move.